in an old-fashioned way by getting on the team sheet week in, week out.
Yeah, and that's what you want as a young player. It's okay, the manager looking after you and dipping you in, dipping you out, but the reality is you want to play week in, week out. You've got energy, and when you're a young player, as a manager, you want young players to come into your team to give you that enthusiasm and that energy, which can buck up the players that are on the pitch and maybe are losing a little bit of form. So young players can always do that, and he did that very early on, but actually stayed in the side as a consequence of how well he was playing and the influence he was having on the group around him, and that shows he's got an old head on young shoulders, and that's why he's been allowed to develop in the team, and credit to him, because he deserves that career path, because a lot of young players get taken in, as I said, taken out, and that doesn't help. I think it holds them back too much.
Yeah, Sags, there aren't many that, like Declan, that go into a team and become skipper and start running things at that age. You know, I remember the great Ray Wilkins, God bless him. You know, when I was a Chelsea fan growing up as a kid, he was a skipper at 18, Ray, and again there were very, very few like that, and you know, went on to have an outstanding career. And I look at Declan and I think, again, you know, to be the skipper of West Ham, a revived West Ham, a new West Ham, an energetic one, all credit to him. You know, he's clearly a very responsible lad as well as an excellent player.
And with the likes of it's full time at Turf Moor. Steve.
It is. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2. Jonathan Woodgate engineers back-to-back wins for a rejuvenated Bournemouth, and the Cherries have a place in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. Burnley paying the price for too many personnel changes coming into the game. 8 in total, never really clicked into gear, and it felt like a huge chance for a good cup run wasted for them. Bournemouth led after 21 minutes. Sam Surridge turning past Bailey Peacock-Farrell from close range, but the deal was sealed late on with a penalty which Junior Stanislas finished in commanding fashion. The Cherries got everything they deserved. Bournemouth are the first team to book their place in the last 8 of the FA Cup. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2.
Steve Hollisell, thank you very much indeed. Swansea against Manchester City, Everton against Spurs tomorrow night. There's Leicester City against Brighton. There's Reading and Brentford. There's Wolves against Southampton and Barnsley, Chelsea. All the FA Cup covered as you like it here on TalkSport. Andy, just one from a midfield point of view as well with Declan. I mean, he's playing with defensive midfielder or at the back or whatever he plays and what he does. He's all over the place with his strength. But somebody like Mark Noble will be terrific for him as well, won't he? Because you need, when you're a youngster, you need that older head, don't you, who's seen it, done it, knows the club inside out.
You certainly do. I think everybody benefits from that, and you know, Mark can pass on. I mean, Mark's had over 500 games for West Ham, and so he's got tons of mileage, know-how and experience under his belt, and he can pass that on. It's invaluable. As a young lad, when I was at Southampton, I had Jimmy Case with me in the midfield at Southampton, you know, and Jimmy taught me plenty on the field and a little bit more off a little bit more off it, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you know, that's all part of the maturing and understanding what it was like to be a footballer in those days, the same way as what it's like to be a professional footballer these days.
Exactly. I took more notice of what Jim said than what the manager said. I did, honestly. You know, when if he used to shout something at me or bark something at me, it used to sting a little bit more than what it did necessarily from what the manager was saying, you know, because he was a great player and again someone that could teach you an awful lot, and I think you always look to those sort of players. So I'm sure Declan draws off Mark Noble a lot. I'm sure he does.
Lindelof and Maguire, what would you do to split them tonight as a centre forward, an old-fashioned one?
Well, the one thing with certainly Maguire, who I like as a player, and he's good in possession, will step in with the ball, but clearly he's not the quickest over the grass, and I know what I try and do, but I wasn't the quickest either, so I wouldn't have affected him too much in that way. But yeah, I think that's the one thing against him that is a little bit glaring, that people worry about. I think if they see quick players up around him in a run race over 20-30 yards, then you think, well, he might get caught out. But credit to him, he doesn't get caught out too often. But alongside him, you would have thought United would have gone for maybe somebody maybe not as accomplished on the ball, but maybe a little bit quicker to compensate.
Well, such is the way we are in 2020-21. Of course, the two sides have made their way from the tunnel away to our left here. You wouldn't know it, of course, because just looking around this great ground, it's just pictures in the places of real people. But this is real action here. And reality for David Moyes is back here to prove that it doesn't just stop at Manchester United. Do you know what, Jim Proudfoot? Carol King is 78 today. And I just wonder whether, as far as David Moyes is concerned, that way over yonder could become now and forever at West Ham.
Well, just part of life's rich tapestry, his return here to Old Trafford today. Two of the Premier League's top six fighting their respective battles within the elite, able to take a step back from the day-to-day business to renew their acquaintance with a competition that has provided some iconic moments in their history. But it's the fact that they are history which drives them forward. Manchester United, winners only once in 17 years. West Ham, semi-finalists only once in 30, aiming tonight to reach only their second quarter-final in a decade. This is a venue where Happy Hammers' memories have been only sporadic. 20 years since their last cup success on this ground, a square Manchester United back line. Fabian Barthez, statuesque. Arm in air. Di Canio not deceived with an ice-cold finish and iconic celebration. Few, if any, West Ham sides since then have been as good as this one. As great as the sum of its parts, which hasn't always been the case. Led by a manager who will always feel that he has a point to prove here. And how David Moyes would love to mastermind a success at Old Trafford against a club who made 6 changes. Manchester United aiming to reach the quarter-finals for a 7th successive season. Some record that under the auspices of a manager who's twice won this competition as a United player, but still seeks his first silverware as the boss. This is the Manchester United side. Dean Henderson in goal. Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Telles. Matic and Fred. Greenwood, Van der Beek and Rashford. And Martial. West Ham, Fabianski. Safal Dawson, Ogbonna and Cresswell, Souček and Rice, Bowen, Noble, Fornals and Yarmolenko. Paul Tierney, who took charge of Manchester United's draw at Liverpool last month. He's shown 3 red cards in the Premier League this season, and he's just waiting for the signal to get this game underway. Manchester United, red shirts, white shorts and black socks, and the Hammers in their change kit of predominantly light blue with some claret hoops on the front. And it will be West Ham kicking towards the Stretford end in this first half, who will get us off and running. That's kicking from right to left as we look at it. Manchester United's last 4 games, in their own way of all, been extraordinary. The fantastic cup win against Liverpool, followed up by that. Did it really happen? Defeat to Sheffield United, then 9 past Southampton, and the thrilling 3-3 draw with Everton at the weekend. The players take the knee before kick-off. Still so much to be done in that battle against racism. And we are now underway with the Hammers' first long ball fall from Dawson. Looking for Yarmolenko in this central striking role. Manchester United returning it very quickly over the heads, where Ogbonna can mop up just outside his own penalty area and will bring it forward under little pressure from Anthony Martial. Finds Cresswell, long ball forward from him, trying to get Yarmolenko in behind Lindelof. A little bit too much on the ball forward, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. Commentary team tonight here on TalkSport par excellence. Mark Hughes alongside me, and it's a good evening to Andy Townsend.
Hi Jim, how you doing? Yeah, looking forward to the game. Few changes from both coaches. West Ham, again, I'm looking at the team. There's a lot of quality out there for sure. Obviously Souček and Rice and Noble, know-how and bit of class in the middle of the park, a solid back 4 up front. Have they got enough now to ask a real question of this United team?
And it's interesting the way that the West Ham United midfield has set up as Van der Beek fouls Souček and gives West Ham United a free kick. When these 3 central midfielders have ever played before in a starting lineup for the Hammers, they have played with Rice and Souček and Noble at 10. Tonight, Noble is sitting. He's playing as a 4. And Rice is given that little bit more licence to push forward, and it is 4-1-4-1 for West Ham in these early stages. Very
early stages, of course. We'll see how that develops, Jim. But they got free kick here, chance to put something in the box.
In from Noble, and Matic not taking any chances, not too sure of Souček's positioning coming in at the far post, just dangled a left foot at it, but actually didn't get the touch. The assistant referee over on the far side told the referee, who initially gave a corner, that he hadn't touched it, Matic, and it will be a goal kick which will be taken away to our left-hand side by Dean Henderson. You're with TalkSport, couple of minutes in. It is live and exclusive for national radio from a very cold Old Trafford this evening. And here are the two Manchester United players making their 250th appearance for the club, just linking up. Martial and Rashford, their goal tallies very similar as well. Rashford on 83, Martial on 78. And the ball is played into the feet of the Frenchman. We just work it down towards Aaron Wan-Bissaka here. Score of the first goal in last week's 9-0 victory against Southampton. Ball back from him to Fred, who played the second half of that match at left back and has tried to drive one inside the penalty area here. West Ham can bring it forward quickly, but don't get too far before they've lost possession again. And it's back with Mason Greenwood, who finds Fred right in front of us. We're situated about 15 yards inside the half that Manchester United are attacking, the scoreboard end of the ground. As the ball is played down towards Harry Maguire. Maguire's ball just taking a deflection on its way through, so Fowler's going to be able to clear it. It comes back to the yellow boots of Nemanja Matic, who will take a touch and flick it away from Declan Rice, and playing it out to the Manchester United left for Telles. Gets an immediate return ball, and then it's back inside the centre circle for Fred. Fred into the feet of Greenwood and back again, and then Fred will play it just not quite accurately enough out towards Telles, but he had the time just to retrace his steps, take a couple of steps back and bring it under control and find Maguire. Maguire to Victor Lindelof. Lindelof down to Fred, who's only a yard inside the West Ham United half. Martial drops deep to link up the play, gets the ball into feet, and then a little shimmy and a drop of the shoulder. Got away from Souček, but not away from Rice, who put his foot in and won it back cleanly. And then immediately Manchester United win it again. It was Fornals that lost it. Greenwood, the beneficiary of that knock. Bonner's defended it well because he's flicked it off Mason Greenwood and out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken away to our right-hand side by Fabianski. 4 gone on TalkSport, and it's Manchester United 0, West Ham 0.
Yep, decent start. Again, sort of start you'd expect. United trying to get on the front foot, trying to get their forward players involved in the game. It's a strong top three for United. You know, Martial, Mason Greenwood and Rashford. There's tons of pace and lots of direct thinking there, so keep those boys in the game as much as you can, get them involved as early as you can, and they're always going to ask a question of this West Ham back four this evening.
That's a pretty heavy cavalry on the bench as well, Mark Hughes. The likes of Cavani and Bruno Fernandes waiting to be called upon if necessary. Difficult for a manager getting the priorities right and keeping everybody fit and interested and juggling the workload.
Yeah, it's this part of the season where they need to look at things like that, I suppose, but I've just got this thing about the FA Cup. I think you should always give it the respect it deserves, so I would always go as strong as I could, and then you win the game or the tie, and then if you're struggling, then you have to bring those big guns on later on, or whatever. But it started brightly. United, I thought, been knocking the ball around really crisp and sharp, and that augurs well for them. West Ham, I sense, looking to go a little bit more direct and maybe catching the back four of United out.
What they are doing, Jim, as well, West Ham out of possession, that back four very recognisable. When they've got the ball, the wing back, the full-backs are pushing on. Mark Noble's dropping between the two centre halves, and so all of a sudden there's that bit of flexibility in their formation when they've got it, and then as opposed to when they haven't got it. Sometimes in that little moments when you think you've got it and you lose it, in that moment the shape can get affected and teams can get at you a little bit. We'll see if that happens.
Manchester United look for a long ball for themselves there down the left-hand side. Safar was able to shepherd it out of play, away from the run of Marcus Rashford. That's a good potential battle over on that far touchline. The Hammers have it now on the edge of their own box with Ogbonna. He's found Craig Dawson, who goes out towards Safar. The two signings from the Czech Republic have both been fantastic acquisitions for West Ham United, a major part of the success that they've had, and the red card being rescinded from the weekend, allowing Souček the opportunity to play today in the heart of the midfield, the man who is the leading scorer for West Ham this season with 8. United on the front foot though with Lindelof finding Wan-Bissaka, drags it back onto his left foot, then immediately onto his right, trying to deceive Fornals. Cresswell got in the way and blocked, and it goes out of play for a United throw level with the edge of the Hammers penalty area. We played 6.5 minutes, and it's 0-0 between Manchester United and West Ham here on TalkSport, live and exclusive for national radio tonight. We've got the whole of round 5 covered for you, with games over the course of the next 48 hours as well. Rashford's in possession here. Back he goes for Maguire. Maguire down the inside left channel. Rashford continued his run. It was well watched by Dawson, who slid in and put it out of play for another throw that will be taken on the United left.
Mark, we've been talking about number 10s before kick-off, and Van der Beek obviously clearly playing in advance of Fred and Matic.
Yep.
What's he got to provide tonight? What are you looking for from him in that role?
Well, you just want him to get on the ball and show what he's got, which, if we're honest, he hasn't been able to do since he's come to United. I'm not quite sure what quality he's got, you know. Yeah, he's obviously an accomplished player. They paid decent money. He's come from a good club, so he's got talent, but we haven't seen her on these shows yet. So you just hope that he starts just to maybe settle at the club a little bit more than he's shown at the moment, and has an effect this evening, because there's a big opportunity for him. He's only going to get so many.
Here's Yarmolenko with his back to the direction of play. Short sleeve shirts, but big thick black gloves on tonight on a very cold Mancunian evening, as Cresswell can play it forward. Yarmolenko again drops deep, gets there ahead of Matic, works it across the face of Rashford to get the hammers going on the far side. It's 0-0. A little between the two in the opening stages, albeit that it's Manchester United have had the majority of possession, and they've got it here with Greenwood inside his own half, looking for the long diagonal, flighted for a little bit too much loft on it for Rashford, and the hammers could mop up easily. It's a foul playing it forward. I'm sure the flag will come up had Yarmolenko actually made an attempt to try and play that, and then he just stopped. And Souček put lip service into chasing it, but it was easily knocked back to the goalkeeper, Dean Henderson.
What they can do, United, look, Yarmolenko's not going to run Lindelof or Maguire. He's not got, that's not his strongest attribute nowadays, to turn and to directly run in behind people. So what that United back four can do, they can go squeeze, they can go tight, they can really test his touch and test his appreciation when the ball's knocked into him. They haven't got to drop off and worry about the threat, unlike the West Ham back four, who are constantly worried about the pace of United's top line.
Cresswell into the feet of Rice, who then indicates that Ogbonna was on for him, but he played a more progressive ball down towards the left-hand side for Fornals. Rice gets it back, and then again orchestrating what the next move should be. Told Ogbonna to go square to Dawson, which he did. Safal has it now on the West Ham United right. Manchester United coming into this on the back of only one defeat in the last 17 Premier League games, only 2 defeats in the last 17 games in all competitions. A decent run, but Ham's not too far behind that with 7 wins in their last 9. As the ball comes in from Wan-Bissaka, little cushion header down for Rashford on the edge of the penalty area. Fred will pick it up, but go deeper for Matic. Matic has got Telles making a run back into an onside position. That was the pass that he looked to play but realised he couldn't, so held it up, goes square to Fred. Now Manchester United can utilise the width on that far touchline, which is their left. Back it goes from Telles to Maguire to Lindelof. Fred will be able to pick it up, and all of the outfield Manchester United players are in West Ham territory. Wan-Bissaka back for Fred. Fred level with the edge of the centre circle on a night when Bournemouth have already made it through to the FA Cup quarter-finals with a 2-0 victory at Burnley. Maguire into the feet of Rashford. Back for Maguire again. Just the work cleverly by Rashford on the half-turn. Out of the left-hand side. Good commanding header from Ogbonna. Got the danger away for West Ham, and then Safal on the right-hand touchline will whack it further upfield, where Maguire can come back and just cushion a header down towards Matic, who can mop up, and Victor Lindelof will be able to bring it forward. 11 gone. Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. Neither goalkeeper has been called into any action at all so far. Telles, good 1-2 between him and Rashford, working it in, Martial, and out came the goalkeeper. Didn't have to make the save because the defending in front of him was good enough to steer it away for a corner, but that was Manchester United in behind the West Ham back line for the first time.
Yeah, really good play from United. Clever little slick 10-yard pass for Anthony Martial to run towards the corner of the 6-yard box, and Ogbonna did really well sliding in to get a vital block. It looks like he's hurt himself in the process, but really important bit of defending that. And that's the first bit of incisive play from United in that situation.
Yeah, they just quickened the passing up there, and that just caught the back line of West Ham out there. But Ogbonna's, in fairness to him, has come and done a good block there. He's just been caught as the ball went through. Unfortunate, not deliberate from Martial, but he's caught him on the ankle.
Yeah, just that, literally just where Martial takes the shot, and as he studs up in the air and coming back down, it's rattled right on the outside of Ogbonna's ankle. It's a sore one, really good block. He's played well lately as well, Ogbonna, for West Ham. He's, you know, there was one point there where I thought he might slowly start to be phased out of this team, a little bit going on, but you know, David Moyes trusts him, and he's produced some real top quality performances for him.
Yeah, it has been Ogbonna +1 for much of the season now, with Craig Dawson being the +1 in recent times. Diop and Balbuena both on the bench and both out warming up. He's still down receiving treatment. This is a source of concern. Time for me to just tell you what's going on in the two championship games taking place at the moment. Goalless at the New York Stadium, Rotherham against Cardiff, and the game between the bottom two. Sheffield Wednesday lead Wycombe with a goal from Barry Bannon. In League One, Oxford a goal up at Bristol Rovers. It's 1-1 Peterborough Ipswich, Portsmouth 1 Swindon 0, 1-1 Rochdale against the MK Dons, and Sunderland lead at Shrewsbury 1-0. And in League 2, Salford beat Cambridge 4-1 earlier. Cheltenham lead at Harrogate late on. Walsall 1, Mansfield 1 at half-time. Bolton a goal up at home to Morecambe. And it's goalless at Newport, at Scunthorpe and at Tranmere. And Shea Ojo's just given Cardiff the lead in that other championship game. Rotherham 0, Cardiff 1. And the fact that we're going through the scores will just indicate that, unfortunately, Ogbonna is still receiving treatment. I'm glad to say that he's back on his feet, and that the yellow stretcher which had just been taken over there, the bodyboard, isn't going to be necessary, because he's been able to walk out of the penalty area under his own steam. Declan Rice has come across and has probably just given a prognosis via the medical staff to David Moyes, and there's just a meeting going on between David and his coaching team away to our left-hand side now as to exactly what's going to happen. I'm sure that they're going to have to make the change, because Ogbonna, whilst he's back on his feet, can hardly bear any weight by the look of it on that left leg. That is a major problem for him. And West Ham will be down to 10 as play resumes to face this first Manchester United corner. 14 gone, 0-0. It's an away swinger from Tellez. It bypasses everybody and falls outside the penalty area. Be picked up by Fred. Fred's left-footed ball driven and is easily headed away by Yarmolenko, but with him back defending, there's no out ball, and Manchester United could easily work it back for Dean Henderson. Meanwhile, Ogbonna is behind the goal away to our right-hand side and is able to walk with support, but clearly not in a position that he's going to be able to continue. The Hammers are going to have to make an imminent change.
Yeah, Souček's gone in there at the moment just to hold the fort whilst David Moyes considers the change, and he's obviously got to alter things a little bit, and he'll want to do as little as he can in that respect. He won't want to change the shape of the team too much, but the Souček's sat there at the moment.
Meanwhile, West Ham on the front foot with Jared Bowen. High ball from the right-hand side of the box. Cresswell's done well, covered a lot of ground. Pulls it back for Yarmolenko, whose shot on the turn was blocked. And Matic then can sweep up and get it away and try and bring Manchester United forward. It is Diop who's going to be coming on. The next break in play for West Ham. He's received his final instructions and is just getting ready now. Greenwood has it. Right-hand side of the West Ham penalty area with 15 on the clock at 0-0. Back behind Van der Beek. He's found Fred. Matic square, but he looked for Rashford instead. Sliding challenge from Bowen, got it away, but only half clear. Into Martial. Couldn't get the shot in on the turn. Sets up Greenwood. It's a brilliant block from Cresswell, and potentially a goal-saving one at that. Then Rice will be able to bring it away, and West Ham survive. Here's Fornals, played forward, off Wan-Bissaka, looking for Yarmolenko. Maguire will pick it up. Still West Ham down to 10 because Diop hasn't been able to get on yet. Matic now will work it forward, looking for the run down the inside right channel of Rashford. And the Hammers clear their line so that a change can be made. But that was a good Manchester United move. That
was good football again from United. It fired it into Anthony Martial, who was about 7-8 yards out, back to goal, right down the middle of the goal, and just looking for half a yard to turn and try and get the shot away. And West Ham just doing enough to deny him there. I think a good block in the end when it come out to Mason Greenwood from Aaron Cresswell. But now they've made the change. Diop obviously going straight in alongside Dawson, which allows Souček to move further forward. But a little bit of an unsettling time this, whenever you lose a player early on in a game. Not ideal, particularly in the heart of your defence, but they've now got to adjust, and they've got to come to terms with it pretty quickly.
Foul there by Cresswell, and a free kick to Manchester United about 8 yards inside the West Ham half. Diop started the first 2 Premier League games of the season, but only once since in the league, which was the match against Palace 7 weeks ago. So he's a little bit ring rusty. Was affected by COVID at one stage. Here's Tellez in possession now down the Manchester United left, looking for Rashford, and Safal was able to get it away. Don't know whether the footing's a little bit precarious over there. It's been 2 or 3 occasions where Rashford and Safal in battling have looked to just be trying to keep their balance rather than keep possession. It may be a little bit precarious as the frost begins to come down. Bonner has made his way from behind that goal away to our right-hand side, all the way down towards the tunnel now. But he's going to have to receive further treatment in there. 18 on the clock. Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. And these are thoughts of Wales legend Mark Hughes.
Yeah, it's been a good start from United. West Ham been quite comfortable. United moving the ball around really quickly. The front three showing a lot of good movement, trying to get involved. West Ham will be hurt to a certain extent with that injury to Ogbonna. We'll have to see whether or not it's really detrimental to them, because the lad replacing hasn't had a lot of football, and that's something United might want to exploit as the game progresses. But good start by United, but West Ham very much in it.
Noble's got the ball in the heart of the midfield for the Hammers, and he goes back for Dawson. And he in turn plays it back to his goalkeeper Fabianski, who has time to take a touch and will chip it forward left-footed. Fred's there. Lindelof just misjudging the header, but the referee thought that Yarmolenko made a back for him, so free kick given quickly to Manchester United and taken into the feet of the blonde-haired Dutchman Van der Beek, who got the ball and dispensed with it quickly, then got it back from Fred, and again just played an instant ball back inside his own half for Wan-Bissaka. A little bit of dialogue between the pair of them as the move continues over on the far touchline, the United left, with Telles, and kept out of the side by the brilliant Luke Shaw over the last few weeks. Shaw really on top of his game, and the ball's gone out of play for a throw here, which will be taken on the Manchester United left. Only previous meeting between these two at this stage of the FA Cup, way back in the 1980s, and it was Jeff Pike and Ray Stewart who scored the goals back then in a 2-0 West Ham United win. It's the 10th time that they've been drawn together in the FA Cup. United 5-4 up in terms of the teams that have been able to progress through the years. There have been some pretty epic encounters. United beating West Ham in a replay in 2013. You might remember sticking 6 past them back a decade before that. Here's Maguire. Now Maguire down towards the left-hand side of the penalty area. Rashford, a little shimmy. Still he has possession just by the corner of the penalty area. He's done well just to hold it up, work it forward for Matic, whose left-footed effort was always rising, clears the bar and goes out of play for a goal kick. Through the first 20 minutes here on TalkSport, from Mark Hughes and Andy Townsend.
Yeah, again, I think United asking all the questions. I'm just a little concerned looking at West Ham, how they're going to get out. Unless they find Jared Bowen, I can't see how they're going to get out too easily this evening. As I mentioned, Yarmolenko, it's complete contrast to when they play with Mikel Antonio, so quick and so direct and powerful. Yarmolenko wants everything to feet, can't really turn and run Lindelof or Maguire. So United happy to really press and work this West Ham team. They're going to have to be very accurate with their football to try and get out this evening.
Diop getting it away down the left-hand touchline. It curved right over the line, but didn't go out of play for a throw. Eventually it did, via Yarmolenko's touch, and Manchester United will be able to bring it forward. They've had, as you would have anticipated, the lion's share of possession so far, with 20 minutes gone, but it is still 0-0. And United have it inside the West Ham half with Fred. Going back inside his own half for a moment for Maguire, and now to Victor Lindelof. And Lindelof able to bring the ball forward, has Wan-Bissaka in space to his right. That's the pass that he plays. Faced up by Cresswell, Wan-Bissaka takes a touch infield, finds Lindelof. Lindelof square to Matic, who will make his way forward again towards the edge of the area in his yellow boots. Doesn't go for a shot this time, just lays it out towards Telles. Back for Rashford, who does try his luck, and it hit Dawson on the edge of the penalty area. Spins to safety for West Ham, and then Cresswell's clearance into Fred goes out of play for a throw down by the corner flag in West Ham's left-back position. It's Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0.
Yeah, it's just to re-emphasise the point Andy was making. I think United have recognised very early on that Yarmolenko isn't going to run in behind too often. He wants it to feet. He wants to get hold of the ball and show his stuff. At the moment, he's looking like a left winger playing up front down the middle, which he doesn't really look that adept at. I think United will sense that they can peg them back. I think they've got to be careful they don't just throw everybody forward. At times there was 6 ahead of the ball, 7 ahead of the ball, so if the West Ham do get it right, then they could get caught out, but they look quite comfortable at the moment.
Donny van der Beek and Wan-Bissaka both battling full possession with Cresswell and Rice, and in the end Wan-Bissaka trying to buy a throw for his team, couldn't get the touch off Cresswell, and it goes out of play for a throw which West Ham take quickly as well with Mark Noble, but back it comes through the midfield. Rashford away from Noble beautifully. Greenwood in space on the right hand side. 3 red shirts in the penalty area if he can get it across. Just went for the cheeky little left-footed flick in towards the near post. Fabianski could save almost with disdain.
Yeah, it's just for United, it's just about just choosing the right option, picking the right pass at the right time, and I feel that they'll eventually find a way to break West Ham down. At the moment, I think every time West Ham get the ball, they serve it forward, it's coming back pretty quickly. They're not going after United too much. They're sitting quite deep, 5 yards outside their own 18-yard box. If United can stitch the right ball together, I think they'll start to work Fabianski more.
They just can't get out at the moment. West Ham United possession 2/3, 1/3 in Manchester United's favour. Side who scored more goals in the Premier League than anybody else this season, helped of course by the 6 against Leeds and the 9 here against Southampton last week. But 25 goals in 12 home league games is a very impressive return, and the next one that they scored with their 40th in all competitions here at Old Trafford this season. West Ham's defensive record impressive though, and they are unbeaten on the road in their last 6. That's since defeat at Chelsea on the weekend before Christmas. They've won 4 of the last 5 away from home. Wan-Bissaka trying to get it away from Fornals, able to play it down for Greenwood. Greenwood back for Fred. 24 minutes gone here on TalkSport. Live exclusive national radio coverage with Jim Bradford, Mark Hughes and Andy Townsend tonight. There's more live sport coming your way across the network this week. Tomorrow, Swansea against Manchester City. Kicks off proceedings over on TalkSport 2, followed by Leicester against Brighton. Here on TalkSport tomorrow night, an 8:15 kickoff for Everton against Spurs, with Trevor Sinclair alongside Sam Matterface, and we'll keep you updated with everything going on at Sheffield United, Bristol City as well. Then Thursday, it's Wolves Southampton on TalkSport 2, and Chelsea's trip to Barnsley here on TalkSport, which is an 8 o'clock kickoff. 24 gone tonight, 0-0. Here's Rashford. Manchester United having all the possession, not asking too many questions of the West Ham United back line so far though. Souček trying to play it forward, and United just gobble that one up as well. Fred has it. 10 yards inside the West Ham half to Matic. Matic squeezing it through. It's an excellent ball. Now an opportunity for Martial. Gets it back from Rashford. Right-footed effort. Cannoned off the nearest West Ham United player, which was Noble, and goes out for a throw that will be taken on the Manchester United left.
Mark, how long do you, if you're David Moyes in a scenario like this, where you're seeing United having all the possession without really working your goalkeeper, but are you starting already to think, I don't quite like the feel of this, the look at this, I might need to do something about this?
Well, the danger is, given how it's shaping up the month, the danger is that United score and then you think, well, I'll change now, and then it could very well be too late then. I mean, if you can preempt it, and you're seeing what's happening, he's a very experienced manager, David Moyes. I don't think too many occasions he does early substitutions in first halves, unless he has to. Through injury, but it might be that he just needs another outlet just to get him out the park.
Second Manchester United corner's been worked short. Telles into Matic. Matic trying to drive inside the area, and he's won another corner, which will be taken over on the United left. Telles will go across to take it. Just retrieving the ball from in front of the red hoardings, and now picking it up, just places it on the corner quadrant. Takes 2, 3, 4 very deliberate steps back. He's got Rashford and Van der Beek on the edge of the 6-yard box. Greenwood is in there as well. Left-footed delivery. Maguire going up for what a save that is from Fabianski.
What a save.
He needed that little touch off the post as well, but that is a magnificent stop to keep West Ham United's clean sheet intact. Greenwood has it now. takes it down towards the byline, then checks, trying to get it back towards Matic. As the snow begins to fall, cross inside the penalty area is volleyed away by Souček, out towards Yarmolenko. Noble will try and bring it forward and finds Fornals. Fornals with a risky one, back towards the edge of the penalty area. Diop just got it away, didn't thank him for the pass at all, puts it out of play for a throw which will be taken on the United right and taken quickly by Fred. Fred to Wan-Bissaka, to Nemanja Matic.
They just don't have enough pace in the team, West Ham, to unless they play really fast one-touch slick stuff. United are going to squeeze and are going to press every time. If they get it right, they're in business.
And Telles trying to get it right here, and it's taken another deflection from a sliding Van der Beek shot, which goes over the bar. Let's give tribute, though, to Lucas Fabianski for a magnificent save. It was Lindelof that met it with a header. It then took a deflection in front of him. He's dived down, got a strong hand to it, flicked it onto the post and away.
Yeah, it was a little bit in slow motion. I thought at one point that he wasn't actually going to just get a touch on it, but it was important that he did. Yeah, great save, and it kept it down to where we are at the moment. It's worrying for West Ham at the moment. They're going to have to
Rashford playing it in and
get to grips with the accuracy of United's passing.
Fabianski has got the ball in his hands, and he'll be able to get it out of harm's way. 17 minutes to go to half time. Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0.
And from a United point of view, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will now be thinking, come on guys, let's find the way through, let's make the breakthrough, let's stitch some of these passes together with a little bit more accuracy now. We've got a good handle, good grip of the game. We're back four up on the halfway line, if not most of the time, if not even in West Ham territory. Now all of a sudden Greenwood, Rashford and Martial, can those guys combine? Van der Beek, nothing from him again. You know, as we're approaching the half an hour mark, just a couple of touches here and there, not really involved enough. And I think on a night like this that he should be.
Lindelof trying to play it forward outside his own penalty area. He almost got himself into a spot of bother there, but it ricochets through to Dean Henderson. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saying that his substitute goalkeeper, or his second choice goalkeeper, not the most patient, was the quote. And certainly feels I think that he should be in having a more regular Premier League action. David De Gea's form again coming into question in that thrilling 3-3 draw here on Saturday night against Everton that we brought you live on TalkSport, where De Gea was culpable for Doucouré's goal. Here's Matic finding Fred. Fred will go to his right-hand side for Wan-Bissaka, who stretches, keeps it in, and then drives it forward. Greenwood's touch just gave Diop the opportunity to use his strength and shepherd the ball over the line. Now to play for a goal kick that will be taken by Fabianski away to our right-hand side. It's not just the football we've got coming up for you on the TalkSport network, of course. TalkSport 2, you'll be aware, bringing you live and exclusive ball-by-ball commentary of England's cricket tour of India. It was a fantastic victory this morning thanks to James Anderson and Jack Leach. A famous 227-run win in Chennai. And we've got the second test for you also in Chennai, which starts on the 13th on Saturday morning. The easiest way to listen to TalkSport 2 by downloading the free TalkSport app and swiping left so you don't miss a delivery of our award-winning coverage. Tonight here at Old Trafford, it's 0-0. Manchester United, the better team, having vast majority of possession, but not really doing as much with it as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would like. Yeah, they'd like that.
There was that one chance when Fabianski made that very good save, finger-tipping it onto the post to just deny United. But yeah, they'd like to work him a bit more.
Might be able to here. Rashford looking for Van der Beek's half cleared. Out towards Martial, left-hand side of the box. Telles with a low-driven, vicious ball, which Dawson can knock away before it got to Van der Beek. And it goes out of play for a throw. But so much of the play, it's not just the possession Manchester United are having, so much of it now is concentrated in and around the edge of the West Ham penalty area. Of course, it has to be played to a finish tonight, so extra time and penalties on the agenda if necessary. Maguire's got it for United and has gone back for Fred in the midfield. Fred to Nemanja Matic. 31 on the clock, it's 0-0. Back for Harry Maguire again. Forward towards Nemanja Matic. Matic, who lost successive finals with different clubs earlier in his career. Into the feet of Martial. Now to Rashford once more. Right-footed ball driven in. The idea was right. Just looking for the ball teased over the top for the run of Martial, but just a little bit too much on it. Fabianski could come out and play.
Yeah, West Ham have got a little bit of a dilemma, really. Clearly, they want to get up the field, play if they can, because they're pegged in somewhat, but they know that if they do get up towards the halfway line, then they're going to get that space, or allow that space for United to run into. And United have shown their threat really early on. The front three look really bright, a lot of pace, a lot of movement, so you can understand to a certain extent why West Ham are a little reluctant to allow that space in behind.
Tellez chesting the ball down, clears, goes out for a throw which will be taken over on the West Ham right. They've got a really good Premier League away record with twice as many victories as defeats on the road. In many ways, this the type of fixture you feel that would suit West Ham with the way they've played, but they miss Antonio.
Yeah,
you can understand why Antonio's been kept in cotton wool and not involved tonight.
I mean, I can. Obviously, he's such a crucial player to David Moyes' team, and in terms of their Premier League ambitions, he's vital in that respect. But I think the way they've been playing this year, West Ham, this is a competition that they could go well in. They've shown on more than enough occasions that very competitive with a dangerous streak in the team. But without Mikel Antonio, and obviously no Jesse Lingard this evening, without Antonio, they just look so different. They just don't pose any of the threats and any of the questions. But look, the game is still 0-0. He got a chance here.
And he's played forward. Tellez has done well. He's covered an awful lot of ground and just nipped in front of Jarrod Bowen to be able to sweep up. Bowen, a lifelong Manchester United fan whilst he was growing up, and a player that has played against Manchester United in a big cup tie in the past when he was a Hull player in the Hull team that beat Manchester United in one of the legs in the League Cup semi-final a few years ago. But Bowen nipping in there. That's the kind of opportunity, though, that the Hammers are going to have to make the most of if they're going to be able to get anything out of this. They have it now, but have had a free kick given against them as Tellez has just been fouled by Souček.
He's the one player, Jarrod Bowen, if they can find him, because he does make good runs and he is quick. Once he gets going and he gets the wrong side of any back four, you're not going to catch him. But he's the only one, so it's going to have to be that route. I feel that's going to be the most profitable one for West Ham in terms of going forward. He's not seen an awful lot of the ball. He spent a fair amount of the half sat on top of his fullback, just making sure he's doing his defensive work.
Those are thoughts of Andy Townsend here on TalkSport tonight, alongside Mark Hughes. As the ball is played forward, a good driving run by Rashford inside the penalty area. Martial will be able to pick it up now. He goes back for Fred. Fred's 10 yards outside the West Ham United penalty area. Just look for options, and none immediately presenting themselves, so he works it back through the midfield for Lindelof. Wan-Bissaka will then be the next man in the move, picking it up on the right-hand side and try to make headway. West Ham get it away, and now the outball. Souček into space for Bowen. Tellez out of position, so Bowen can pick up possession and will take it towards the edge of the penalty area. Souček making his way to the middle. Tellez has got back goal side of Bowen and has stopped him being able to deliver a ball. And as Bowen laid it back for Safal, Van der Beek came back and nudged it out for a throw, which will be taken on the West Ham United right. Manchester United getting their shake back behind the ball quickly enough, and Tellez's defending was good enough to stop Bowen being able to play a quick ball in.
Yeah, just half a chance there for Jarrod Bowen maybe to have got to the byline and stand something up. Souček and Yarmolenko, Fornals, they're all trying to gain ground and get in the box, but the winger just chopped back and allowed Alex Tellez time to recover.
Souček playing it forward now, and he wins a corner, which is West Ham United's first of the game, and this is an opportunity where they do excel. Diop making his way forward. Diop on for the injured Ogbonna in the very early stages. Souček invariably the target of these, and he will start his run here in a central position about 16 yards from goal. But what he tends to do is just peel away out to the far post area, and then we'll make a darting run back in, and they'll try and find a flick to find him. That's invariably how these West Ham United set pieces work. Can they get the delivery right? It's Jarrod Bowen that's over it. He's just repositioning the ball might be a signal to his teammates as to which of the repertoire of the set pieces is coming in here. Yarmolenko standing in front of the keeper into the near post area. Rice looking for the flick. Coming at the far post was Diop, and he's ended up face down after a nasty clash between two players. A free kick has gone Manchester United's way, and Diop needs treatment, and one of the Manchester United boys in there does his work. Might be Lindelof that's down hurt, and it's not a real crowd of players between me and the action. It's Martial, I think, is it, that's ended up catching it. It's a nasty clash of heads looking at the replay.
It's a clever little ball flicked at the near post, I think, from Declan Rice, and looped it up towards the far post, and Diop's attacking it, and Anthony Martial is right underneath it. And you know when you leap to try and clear something like that you're going to get clattered. It's one of those scenarios and situations that you find yourself in, but you've got to make contact, because Diop was bearing down, looking to nod it in the back of the net, and it was good work from Martial, but obviously a collision of heads, and immediately a lot of players staff from both benches rushing on to help the two players.
Well, both continue to lie stricken inside the 6-yard box. 7.5 minutes to go to half-time. It is 0-0. We've been talking, Mark Hughes, about the dilemma that David Moyes has got. Ostensibly, of course, this is fine if he can extend 0-0 through to 120 minutes and take it to penalties, but the law of averages will suggest that sooner or later Manchester United are going to start asking some more pertinent questions. So what does he need to do?
Yeah, well, he doesn't want his team playing in the areas that they're playing for the majority of the first half. He wants to get them up the field of play if he can. The way to do that, obviously, is you've got to get some ball retained higher up the pitch. At the moment, they're struggling to do that. But we've seen the example just prior to the break in play, where they've released Jarrod Bowen on that right-hand side, and he's able to carry the ball and carry the fight further up the pitch. And there was good energy, I have to say, from the likes of Souček from behind, trying to give that support that West Ham clearly need. But it's a little bit sporadic for West Ham at the moment. They need to have a little bit more sustained pressure and a little bit more play themselves, just to gain confidence and get a foothold in the game.
Well, both of the players involved in that incident are okay, I'm delighted to say, back on their feet and now trotting from behind the goal down towards the near touchline, the Manchester United right, and both wave back on. Martial and Diop able to continue, and we got 6 minutes to go to half-time. It is a first half that's going to be elongated probably by 4 or 5 minutes because of stoppages, of Ogbonna going off injured with a leg problem in the early stages. Here's Matic. And Matic trying to get it away from Souček, just plays it out towards the left-hand side where the scampering Maguire will try and keep it in, and he almost showed too much of it to Yarmolenko, and in the end the assistant referee on the far touchline has flagged, and it is going to be a West Ham United ball. Those two games in the Championship, second half just started. Cardiff leading at Rotherham, Sheffield Wednesday leading at home to Wickham, with that goal now credited to Jordan Rhodes, incidentally. The ball played down the West Ham United left. Cresswell, Fornals, Rice making his way towards the dead ball line now. Checks, he's got Cresswell in support. Cresswell couldn't quite get in first time cross, but he can take it towards the byline and whip it in. And it's a good handling from Dean Henderson, who's had very little to do, but that was much better from West Ham.
Better, good run from Declan Rice. Right on the touchline down here on the left-hand side. And then he waited for support, got it from Aaron Cresswell, back to him, the left back, as he does. Usually whips in something half decent, but goalkeeper right underneath it, and comfortable hands, and United back on the front foot, back on the halfway line, and West Ham back into shape. But better, marginally better from West Ham the last 7 or 8 minutes as we approach half-time. David Moyes will probably feel that, yeah, we haven't played great, we haven't created a lot, but how much have United really hurt us? How often has my goalkeeper had to get his hands dirty? Not too often. I think for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when I look at the team so far, what I'm seeing, Van der Beek hardly had a kick. Would Bruno Fernandes make a big difference second half? Yes, he would.
Matic has it now. Exchanging passes with Fred in the midfield, and it goes back for Lindelof, who hits a long route, one ball forward. They almost got Rashford in. Made the run from the far touchline. It came into a more central position. He dragged Sofal in with him, and Rashford just got there first, but it was a little bit steep, the ball, and ends up going through towards Lucas Fabianski. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2, the first FA Cup result in this 5th round earlier today. Burnley manager Sean Dyche, incidentally, will be on the Sports Breakfast tomorrow with Laura Wood, Sally McCoist and Charlie Austin. It's between 6 and 10 tomorrow morning here on TalkSport. Reacting, of course, to everything that's happened tonight. Will it be a Manchester United quarter-final for a 7th successive season, which is some record, or will it be West Ham through for the first time since 2016 and through to the last 8 for only the 2nd time in a decade? Still waiting for the significant moments of the night to unfold. Ball's out for a West Ham throw. 3.5 minutes to go to half-time, but as I say, the first half is going to be elongated quite significantly. Safar trying to nick 3 or 4 yards, or maybe 5 or 10. The referee was wise to that, took the throw. It's hammered back through the midfield, and West Ham United go back 40 yards inside their own half. Manchester United push forward to try and condense the play. Fornals to Noble, back from him to Declan Rice. Noble, incidentally, member of the last West Ham United side to win here at Old Trafford some 14 years ago. But 15 barren visits since then. Ball played out towards the right-hand side of the box, an opportunity to deliver, and it might come for Cresswell on the edge of the area, not on his favoured left foot for a shot, so he recycles it and goes square to Rice. Back for Cresswell, now to Fornals. Fornals down towards the corner flag, then checks, comes back out, still hugging the left-hand touchline, but way adrift at the edge of the penalty area now. Into the feet of Noble. Noble to Diop. Diop to Dawson. Controlling it a little bit awkwardly, but effectively in the end to take it past Rashford. Back he goes towards Rice, to Noble, and out to Safal. His compatriot Souček making a good run ahead of him down towards the dead ball line, and Matic has done well. Just used his experience to nipping goal side of Souček, shepherd the ball out, and it's a goal kick which will be taken away to our left-hand side. 43 on the clock. It's Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. Mark.
Yeah, better from West Ham. Just had a period of play there where they were playing in the opposition half, which is what they need to do. They still got to be mindful, obviously, if they do lose possession, then they've got to be ready to run quickly backwards, because with the pace the United front three have got, then they might get picked off. But better. I think David Moyes will be happy that they've got a slight foothold in the game in terms of passing and playing in the opposition half, which they haven't done on too many occasions.
Cresswell will just be spoken to by the referee. He caught Greenwood, but there hasn't been a yellow card so far, and that's still the case. Just a little wagging of the finger, nothing more from Paul Tierney, and the free kick is taken by Manchester United and worked back towards halfway for Fred. Deeper from him to Lindelof, who's another player with his ongoing back problems, whose workload is being managed at the moment, but the absence of Eric Bailly is forcing him to play in most games. Manchester United work a long ball forward out to the left, where Rashford will be able to pick it up, and he works it into the feet of Anthony Martial. Martial bringing it back towards the edge of the box, now into the feet of Matic. Martial to Matic again. Matic 15 outside the penalty area, little definitely flick in, and he comes from Van der Beek down towards Rashford, who tried his luck. Martial actually with the effort ultimately, but the offside flag was up, and it's a free kick which will be taken by West Ham inside their own penalty area. And just waiting for the fourth official, Lee Mason, to indicate how many extra minutes are going to be played at the end of this first half. Just in little dialogue here with David Moyes, and it's 3. And I think David Moyes would settle for that, to be honest, because it could easily have been 6.
Yeah, he'll settle for that, all right. And I think to go in 0-0 for David Moyes, I think he'll be reasonably happy. I do think he might have to adjust and just tweak the way that they've approached this game in order to consistently try and worry United a bit more. And I think for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he just needs his players to try and speed it up a little bit, to play a little bit more accurately, one touch towards the top of the field. When they keep coming back towards Fred and Matic, they allow West Ham to set, and they've got a good shape. They're hard to break down. United always so good on the counter-attack. They need to play that a little bit faster.
Greenwood for Fred. It is still 0-0 here on TalkSport. Van der Beek making the third man run forward this time, but over his head and straight through towards Lucas Fabianski. Fabianski, understandably, in absolutely no hurry to get the ball upfield here. Bounces it once inside his penalty area, and now makes his way forward towards the edge of the box. Fabianski in all yellow smacks it upfield, Trying to get Yarmolenko isolated against Maguire. The second's won well by Rice. Fornals back towards Rice on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Cresswell with the first-time ball in, but Maguire is there to head it away. Van der Beek winning the second ball. Noble is in there strongly then against Wan-Bissaka. And it ricochets through towards Cresswell. Cresswell driving it forward down the line. Sliding in, Wan-Bissaka can put it out of play for a throw that will be taken on the West Ham United left-hand side. Minute and a half of first-half stoppage time remaining. 0-0 the score between Manchester United and West Ham. Cresswell taking the throw down towards Yarmolenko, who looked as though he had overrun that. He's done well, pulls it back. Fornals just missed his kick really as he was chested down to him by Souček inside the area. Difficult chance to him that came very quickly, but he'll be disappointed he didn't make a better fist of it than he did. Brilliant. And then Greenwood with a magnificent turn on this right-hand touchline, which Andy so admired. Drives forward, wins the throw off Declan Rice.
Great bit of skill from Mason Greenwood in his own half. Receives the ball with a man up his back, close to him, and then he pirouettes out, nutmegs him, runs down the line with the ball, and Declan Rice does well to recover. But need a little bit more of that, United, maybe from their own territory. Get those forwards involved a little bit quicker and get them really running and motoring at West Ham's back line to kind of stretch them and disrupt them.
Greenwood to Martial, to Matic, and out towards Marcus Rashford on the edge of the penalty area. Back from him to Matic again. Matic, Van der Beek left it, might get a second opportunity. West Ham smuggle it back for Fabianski, who can clear. And the 3 minutes of stoppage time are all but up. Chance potentially for one last Manchester United attack in this first half. Fred has it inside his half of the centre circle. Waiting for movement ahead of him. It was Tellers that provided the run, but the pass not forthcoming quickly enough. Well, the last 4 games here at Old Trafford have all exuded headlines and drama. This one, attritional, has been a slow burner. It's Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. Yeah.
change, and they're going to stick as they are, still waiting obviously for West Ham. Mark Hughes.
Yeah, United will probably just look at the opening period of the second half if nothing's changed, and it looks like they're still not creating any clear-cut chances. I'm sure they'll have to make a change. No one wants to go into extra time. They've the Premier League calendar and the League Cup games and the FA Cup games, Europe's around the corner as well.
They've got 2 European games coming up very soon.
Games are coming thick and fast, so they want to be here in the cold of the night for any longer than they have to. So Cavani's
on the bench, isn't he?
Yes,
so, Jim.
Cavani is on the bench, but so too Amad Diallo. I mean, there's been so much.
I've heard everybody that I've spoken to about him, they just purr about this young man.
He's 19. I mean, he is very, very lightly raced, to use a horse racing analogy.
I like it.
5 substitute apperences in his career. That's it. 36 million quid. Wow. 5 sub-appearances.
He must have done well in them sub-appearances.
He's a great trainer, I think you can better say. But the United players, the United first team, already consider him at 18 one of them.
Oh, right.
Even though he hasn't played yet. He was magnificent for the 23s against Blackburn the other night. 3 assists and 1 goal. It could just be made for him to come on and play against players who aren't used to him, don't know what he's about, and it could be set up for
Andy,
him.
come on, just let our listeners into the insight that you and Mark Hughes will both have had when you were playing. You know, as players, when they cross from the youth, or they cross from the reserves or whatever and join you guys, you know pretty quickly whether they're
you can tell straight away, Sags, when a young player comes to join in with the first team. You know within 5 minutes whether or not they're going to be staying with you for the next few weeks, or whether you're going to get sent back and go and have another spell for another few months. You just know instantly whether these boys are up to it. And you're right, from what we hear, Amad Diallo is one that they believe is going to go right into the United pot with a chance of getting a game here and there.
Well, I was a senior player when Ryan Giggs burst on the scene, and I think for the first 5 training sessions we had with him, I tried to kick him for 5 sessions. I couldn't get near him. We used to call him the Sidewinder because he was unbelievable as a kid, and obviously had a fantastic career. But but you know straight away, as soon as they get the ball, you know there's something special. Let's hope this boy is.
So, Jim, I'm going to give it to you. West Ham United have made a change, and they've made it on the left side. They've brought young Johnson on, haven't they?
Yes, so they brought Johnson on for Bowen, and that is the first change that they're making at half-time. They're going to make another one as well, because you'll remember that Diop came on for Ogbonna, then got involved in that clash of heads. He hasn't reappeared for this second half, so Fredericks is on for him, and that may well mean that they're going to a back 5 here.
It looks like it does. It looks like they're going to play 3 central defenders with Kufau, with Dawson and Cresswell, to allow Johnson and Ryan Fredericks to hopefully be the outball for the team, to get them out and get them higher up the field.
So run through the 2 teams for you in a moment. Manchester United have got us underway. They're kicking from right to left towards the Stretford end in their red shirts and white shorts, and the Hammers in their change kit of predominantly light blue with a couple of claret hoops on the front, and Telles has possession. It goes off Fredericks and out of play. So Manchester United still with the 11 that started the game. Henderson in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Telles, Matic and Fred, Greenwood, Van der Beek and Rashford, and Martial. But West Ham United now, Fabianski in goal, Fredericks the substitute on the right hand side of the back 5, Safal and Dawson at centre half, and Cresswell is in there as well on the left of the 3 centre halves, with Ben Johnson outside him now at left back in a 5. West Ham picking up possession here with Declan Rice, who's in the centre of midfield with Souček. Yarmolenko showing for the ball on the right hand side of the midfield, didn't get the pass that he needed, and Manchester United with the chance to bring it away, and Rashford's goal side of Fredericks, and now is just faced up by Safal, who just got in the way and blocked him off. Didn't really make too much of an attempt to play the ball, and just a few little words as well between Safal and Rashford as Rashford gets back to his feet. And the snow, which was wisping around the floodlights, is now coming down with increasing ferocity, but It is still 0-0, Andy Townsend.
Yeah, and so the change that David Moyes has made will be interesting to see how that develops. Obviously, they've got certainly more players centrally. Already they've had better contact with the ball in the middle of the park, West Ham. But it will allow United to counter should they turn the ball over now. Playing a back three, the gullies are available, those wider areas for United's pacey front three.
Here's Yarmolenko trying to turn and get a shot in. The Hammers still haven't had one on target so far tonight. As Yarmolenko ended up by the byline, and he scooped it in with his left foot. Henderson made the save, and Yarmolenko stayed down. Collision, I don't know whether that was an impact on him or an awkward fall. Only now is he getting back to his feet, and he's thought better of it, and he's still down on his haunches. So the ball's going to be put out of play so that he can receive treatment. They've already lost 2 players to injury, and now Yarmolenko, who is being fielded pretty much as the emergency striker with Antonio not involved tonight, is in some discomfort. He's got back to his feet, but is leaning over with his black gloved hands on the ground, and referee Paul Tierney's going to go across and see whether Yarmolenko needs any medical attention here. But that's a bad start of the second half as far as the Hammers are concerned. Mark Hughes.
Yeah, you hope that's not anything serious. I seem to recall he's had problems with his knees in the past, so just tweaked a ligament there maybe. He's trying to run her off to his credit, but he looks a little bit ginger in his movements, if we're honest.
Is Maguire has a chance to bring the ball forward. Maguire will get it forward over the halfway line. And West Ham have made 3 changes, but being an FA Cup tie, they have 5 at their disposal, so it's not the be-all and end-all as far as Yarmolenko is concerned. It's Rashford playing the ball forward here, and the boot was judged to have been raised as United played it forward, and as it's an indirect free kick as a result of that, which will be taken by the Hammers just outside their own penalty area. Yarmolenko's okay. Well, I say he's okay. He's back on. He's still feeling that left knee. But West Ham still up to the full complement of 11 as things stand, and still on level terms at 0-0. Rice will play the ball forward out to the Hammers left-hand side for Ben Johnson, who's the nephew of former Manchester United player Paul Parker. His ball inside the area, attacked by Yarmolenko and by Souček, who will be given that little bit more attacking licence now. But Manchester United can smuggle it away, and Greenwood and Wan-Bissaka between them will get it forward towards halfway. But Declan Rice and Mark Noble, who are playing as 2 in front of the back 5, between them can get it out of harm's way and out for a throw, which will be taken on the Manchester United right. So they've got Yarmolenko playing through the middle. They've got Souček and Fornals in behind him. And behind them, they've then got Rice and Noble, and then a back 5. So it's a kind of a 5-2-2-1 formation that the Hammers are utilising now. Lindelöf's got the ball for Manchester United in their 4-2-3-1 with Matic going back for Lindelöf again in his white boots just by the edge of the D. He'll knock it out towards the right hand side where there's plenty of space for Wan-Bissaka to work.
Whenever you play, Jim, a back 5, and I've played it a lot in my days at Villa, and the problem was always the opposing fullbacks in a back 4. So Telles and Wan-Bissaka could have plenty of room here, depending on how cute United's forward players and the runs they make, and how they make those West Ham players funnel backwards. The outball for United now, definitely their 2 fullbacks.
And that is an area where United have really benefited from the excellent form of Luke Shaw this season. Here's Telles, who's playing instead of Shaw today. Down towards the left-hand corner flag for Marcus Rashford. Back he comes for Telles towards the edge of the penalty area for Matic. Matic trying to thread it through towards Van der Beek, who just looked up to the heavens when a deflection took it out of his path, and then Yarmolenko is caught and stays down again feeling that knee, and it's a free kick which will be taken by the Hammers about 20 yards inside their own half. 0-0, 6 minutes gone in the second half. Shaw has created more chances in the Premier League than any other fullback. The other 2 that are playing today are also in the top 10 in Wan-Bissaka and Telles, but it is an area where Manchester United, because they've been forced to play against sides that compress the midfield, as West Ham are doing now, have really been able to exploit those wide positions from the fullbacks. The 2 assists that Shaw had for the game against Southampton, where he came off at half-time having set up goals for Wan-Bissaka and also for Cavani. They were very different types of crosses, but both absolutely brilliant deliveries. Ball out for a throw here, which Tellez will take. We're 6.5 minutes into the second half on TalkSport. Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0, and more action on the West Ham United bench. In the absence of Yarmolenko, or the potential absence of Yarmolenko in a moment, they're going to make a change. It's going to be Odobeko who's going to be coming on. What a place, what a time to make your debut. Lindelof inside his own penalty area. Brought forward then by Wan-Bissaka. Fred in the midfield. Bit more space for Van der Beek. Lays it off immediately first time to Martial. Rashford in space on the Manchester United left is played in. He's got Tellez making a run outside him. Martial making a run ahead of him, but condensing Rashford's space as he tried to drive forward inside the box. And Safal could step up from his position on the right of the three centre-halves to knock it away. Fanal's then beaten to an excellent challenge by Wan-Bissaka. And Manchester United have it back again with Van der Beek. 7.5 gone second half. 0-0. Matic towards the edge of the area. Wan-Bissaka maybe thought about letting fly from distance, but instead works it out towards Mason Greenwood. Gets towards the byline. Might break here for Marcus Rashford. And it's a brilliant save from Fabianski, who's on the toes of Rashford immediately and got his body behind it to block. Another important save. He made one stellar stop in the first half, and that was good anticipation from him there.
Great stop, Jim. Really good work from Fabianski. You're absolutely right. I mean, Rashford, you'd think, should score. It beats everybody, standing at the far post, takes it on his chest, but in that moment, as it's just coming off the striker's chest, the goalkeeper's rushing out to deny him space and gets a vital block on that.
Well, West Ham will make their fourth change. They've already lost Ogbonna and Diop, and now Yarmolenko to injury. So here is Mipu Odobeko, an 18-year-old Irish striker who was affiliated with Manchester City as a boy, then came across town to United. Now a West Ham player and on for his debut. Mark Hughes, just cast your mind back to your debut here at Old Trafford, the first time that you played a match in anger on this turf.
I was only trusted with about 2 minutes of a league game at some point. Yeah, great moment for the kid. I hope he does well. But yeah, I think the change in formations helped West Ham to a certain extent. They've been able to have more play in United's half, which will encourage them. But the injuries they're having might come back and haunt them. I think they just look a little bit weird. They haven't got too many options now.
Might be a concern as well for the game coming up next, home to Sheffield United. That's West Ham's next game. Should have Antonio back for that. Here's Van der Beek. Ball driven forward from him. Odobeko, a player who is capable of the spectacular from distance with either foot. His show reel in under-18 football is tremendous. But it's a big step, obviously. Here's Marcus Rashford on the left-hand side for Manchester United. Just saw Fabianski off his line for a moment and tried to send one in towards the 6-yard box, hoping that it would either go over the head of Fabianski or potentially find Martial. But Fabianski came out and caught it. And the first 10 minutes of the second half have been successfully negotiated by West Ham. 0-0, the scoreline.
Big chance, you know, for Marcus Rashford moments ago. When that, I mean, we credit the goalkeeper who did well. Just seen another replay of it there, and the more you see it, I think a cuter finish, a better finish, Mark. He should have ended up in the back of the net with that one.
Yeah, I always was of the mind that in those situations, don't be too clever with it. Just get a good connection, get plenty of power and pace. You're that close to the goal, the keeper's not going to see it anyway. So don't give the opposition keeper a chance.
He did score a goal against the Hammers in the FA Cup quarter-final 5 years ago, Marcus Rashford. But unable to mark his 250th United game with a goal there. But he has it again now, and he will make his way towards the edge of the box. Slips it into the feet of Van der Beek. Back for Rashford again. Tellez outside him. And that's the ball that Matic plays. Now comes towards Rashford, using the full length of the pitch, but no more. He kept it in. The West Ham players not happy with that. They thought it had gone over the line for a goal kick. Matic then plays it forward. Noble's first touch knocked it away. He dived in a little bit. Tellez will then be able to play the next ball in, and Dawson stoops to head that one clear as it goes out of play for a throw. There's a unanimous turn from the West Ham players towards the assistant referee on the far touchline, who they felt should have signalled for a goal kick. Matic has it, still 0-0. Fred going back inside his own half for Lindelof. The game's just coming to a conclusion, the Championship incidentally, and Cardiff have scored 5 minutes from time. Very rare goal for Joe Bennett, the full-back, and they lead at Rotherham 2-1. It's still Sheffield Wednesday 2 up at home to Wickham in the game between the bottom two. They've both got about 5 minutes to go. We've got just over half an hour of normal time remaining here as Van der Beek's crossfield ball misses everybody and goes out of play for a West Ham United throw. We've seen so many West Ham changes, none yet for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer keeping his powder dry, but it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I think it is only a matter of time, and probably, unfortunately, it will be Donny van der Beek. He just looks like he's playing devoid of any confidence, and there's no zip to his game. He desperately needs something to happen. He could do with just, I don't know, a tap in, a goal or something like that in a confident United team, because at the moment it looks hard work for him. I feel a bit sorry for him. He just looks a little lost out there as to where to really go to try and affect the game.
Such a good player in his days with Ajax. As Rice wins a West Ham corner there, first of the second half. Maybe just a question of wrong club at the wrong time for Donny van der Beek. But it will be a corner that he and the rest of the Manchester United defenders have to deal with here. Corner which Cresswell stands over. It's only the second that the Hammers have won in the game. Souček patrolling on the edge of the penalty area. He and Dawson just having a word with each other. The two principal threats here from set pieces for West Ham, both ready to attack this. And Ben Johnson has been way forward as well. Odubiko stands in front of the goalkeeper. Left-footed ball in, a little bit too low and flat, almost found its way through. Rice trying to send it up for somebody in a blue and claret shirt, but Van der Beek's there to knock it away. Back it will come from Fredericks. Down towards Souček on the West Ham United right. It's faced up by Wan-Bissaka and steps round him brilliantly. Gets to the byline, right-footed, whips it across. Chance for West Ham to work it back in. Lindelof can get in the way of a cross-come shot from Cresswell. And it goes out of play for a West Ham United throw. That's probably as close as they come.
Yeah, good play from West Ham. Lovely work from Souček right down on the byline. Resisted the challenge from Wan-Bissaka. Found Cresswell at the back post, whose shot flashed into a lot of traffic and was just deflected away. But West Ham enjoying their moment and all of a sudden starting to feel they can grow into this game.
Now Odubiko links up with Noble. And it comes down towards Ryan Fredericks. Back from him to Safal. And all the way back to Lucas Fabianski. Rashford putting the pressure on because the ball was threatening just to die before it got to the penalty area. Fabianski had to take a couple of hurried steps out to get it away. But then he's linked up very neatly through the midfield by Fornals, and West Ham will bring it forward. This is their best spell of pressure of the game. Safal bringing it into a more central position. Movement coming from Fornals across his eye line. He didn't play it into the Spaniard, he worked it the other way. Still 0-0. An hour gone at Old Trafford on TalkSport as we bring you live and exclusive commentary. Andy Townsend and Mark Hughes alongside me, Jim Bradford, here at Old Trafford tonight. Fornals, 15 outside the penalty area, gets his right foot underneath it, clips it out towards the left-hand touchline for Johnson. Johnson into the feet of Declan Rice. Rice back for Ben Johnson again on his favoured right foot. Good shape on that delivery from a man who's a winger converted into a full-back, and it was as I say, a nice in-swinging delivery, but just a little bit too far ahead of the two principal targets, and it goes through into the hands of Henderson. 0-0 with an hour gone. Worked out towards Alex Telles now on the Manchester United left. Rashford, just a little deft touch to slip it past Safal, but it ran away from him. Dawson comes back to mop up, and Safal can get it clear through the midfield. Chested down by Rice, and he will work it back to Cresswell on the left of the three centre-halves. A shape that West Ham very familiar with, not one that they've been using in recent games, but they have, over the course of this season, played with the three centre-halves on numerous occasions, so one that they can adapt to very easily. Souček's got it. Forward towards Fornals. Fornals down to the West Ham right for Ryan Fredericks. Fredericks a couple of yards in from the right-hand touchline is faced up by Alex Telles and gets past him, gets to the byline, right-footed ball, chipped in deep. Souček was the target, it was knocked away from him, and Souček judged to have caught Lindelof as he attacked the ball to give Manchester United a free kick. It's still Manchester United 0, West Ham 0.
Yeah, West Ham beginning to fancy their chances, I feel. changing the formation is helping them. Wing backs again wide, pushing United's full backs back, and creating a lot more positive play for them. They're going to be encouraged by that. They're in a period of the game now where actually they're in the ascendancy. United, to a certain extent, have lost their way, and they need to get back on the front foot.
Well, Lindelof picked up a bang to the head, and as Manchester United looked to restart play, Lindelof, I think, gave Fred a shout that he wasn't ready, and that the problem with his head might be more severe than he thought, so the referee's just going across to have a little look. 28 minutes of normal time to go. It's Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0 in a snowy Manchester tonight. And you're with TalkSport, bringing you live and exclusive commentary, and a very good afternoon as well to our listeners in the USA today on Sirius XM FC 157 and on the Sirius XM app. Very good afternoon to you. 0-0 here in northwest England between Manchester United and West Ham. Wan-Bissaka in possession, finding Fred. And Fred to Lindelof and out towards Van der Beek, and just ran away from him, and cheap concession of a throw, not a costly one though, because Manchester United win it back almost instantaneously. Fred trying to put his foot through it. Rashford unlucky. It was a very difficult one for him to try and control, and he goes out for a throw which will be taken by Safar. David Moyes acting as the ball boy. He's got a bit of FA Cup history against Manchester United as well as with them. He was manager of Everton when they beat United in the semi-finals back in 2009. Everton getting to the final, but losing it by a goal to nil. By 2 goals to 1, I beg your pardon, as Noble was just fouled there, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Manchester United after Martial was the player that was caught. Matic preparing to take this free kick. Still the Manchester United substitutes going through the motions of warming up away to our left-hand side. There's nothing particularly vigorous at the moment, and no signs of instant changes from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and we're not that far adrift of the midway point in the second half. Fred goes back for Wan-Bissaka. And now curved left-footed down to the figure of Alex Telles, and he's played it in behind Rashford and out of play for a throw, and Manchester United players are looking frustrated.
I think it's been a sort of a tale of the evening really, where we've seen United first half they started sharp and they created 1 or 2 little situations, and you're thinking they're going to move on from there, and it gradually dissipated. Second half, as of yet, they haven't really got going. Just the odd little sortie in West Ham territory. That aside, David Moyes has been looking pretty comfortable, so I think a change it must be imminent from a United point of view. They need to pep it up a little bit. I think something has to happen from the bench in order to just invigorate the team a bit.
Wan-Bissaka in possession for Manchester United, finding Fred. United have had the majority of possession in this second half, but other than that Rashford shot, which was well saved by the on-rushing Fabianski, they've created very little. Martial will be able to pick it up now, about 10 yards from the corner flag, and he's turned back out and plays it back towards Fred. Fred to Greenwood. Greenwood to Rashford. Rashford back behind square for Matic, and now down towards Alex Telles. Telles won the Portuguese Cup last season, laying it back for Nemanja Matic. Back it goes from him to Fred, who surveys his options and plays it out towards Telles again. Telles trying to draw the challenge of Souček. Lays it back for Matic. Matic to Maguire, making his way forward. Now Van der Beek on the half turn. A neat little pirouette. 360 followed by another 180. To Rashford, to Matic, clipped over the top, Van der Beek, hooking his right foot around it, fires it across the edge of the 6-yard box, but the flag's up on the far touchline. And it's a free kick for the offside against the Dutchman, which West Ham United will take. Those 2 games in the Championship have finished. Rotherham 1, Cardiff 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Wycombe 0. And this one is Manchester United 0, West Ham 0, and we play 66 minutes. Andy Townsend.
That's a little bit better from Donny van der Beek. Just getting involved a wee bit there. He's actually just a fraction offside, but he got to the byline and tried to clip something back for the strikers. It's a tough watch actually, trying to watch him trying to integrate in this United team, and feel for him because you want to see him do well. He's come here for a lot of money and would have no doubt been really excited about the prospect of joining United, and he just can't get fired up. He just can't. It doesn't seem to be happening, but that was a little brighter from him. Let's hope that's the shape of things to come.
Bruno Fernandes is very languidly making his way back down the touchline, followed by Edison Cavani. Don't know whether they've just had enough of standing out in the snow or whether they are going to be coming on in a moment. We've got, as I say, a quarter of the 90 minutes remaining. Cresswell finding Johnson on the Hammers left. West Ham did get a draw here last season. A 1-1 scoreline in the penultimate fixture of the Premier League campaign. Fredericks trying to get to the bylines, got it across towards the near post. Souček couldn't get a flick to nudge it away from Maguire. And Manchester United can bring it away with Matic finding Van der Beek, who controls it with his first touch, rolls it forward with his second, and Rashford will have a run at Safal. Noble is there, doubling up in case he's needed, and he is. Rashford knocks it square towards Fred. Fred trying to chop it back onto his left foot. Finds Van der Beek now. Bottom left corner of the penalty area. He's worked it back for Alex Telles. And played by him back towards Fred. 25 yards out. Back behind square for Matic. Matic with every West Ham player between him and goal, and he was nearly on the edge of the D. It's gone back for Maguire, then given away by Lindelof, and now West Ham can break quickly. 3 against 3 if they can work this right. It's a really promising position for Niles. Options either side of him, and he couldn't find Declan Rice. Rice will be able to pick up possession, but when he does so, facing away from goal, United have then got 6 back in the penalty area or thereabouts. Wasted opportunity for West Ham. Still they have it with Rice. Right-footed ball in from him. Fred gets a deflection on it, a potentially awkward one. Rashford read it and was back in the left-back position behind Telles to knock it away. It'll come back from Dawson. Dawson to Safal to Fredericks. It's still 0-0. And then Safal will work it back inside his own half for Dawson.
What a big chance that was for Niles. It was actually 3-on-2 there in West Ham's favour. Fornell's running through the middle. He had Declan Rice to his left, Souček to his right. He actually tried to go out to Rice. The pass never got there, but I think he went the wrong way.
Yeah, I think.
Don't you, Mark?
Yes, sorry. And yeah, it just looks like both teams are lacking that little bit of guile, that little bit of invention at the top end of the pitch, where it's all a little bit predictable. It's going from one side to the other. You just need a little cute pass, a little reverse pass, a little bit of disguise, just to throw people off the stride and create those spaces that you need, because at the moment everything is just being played in front.
More live sport coming your way across the TalkSport network this week. Tomorrow, Swansea Man City is a 5:30 kickoff over on TalkSport 2, followed by Leicester Brighton, and here on TalkSport it's Everton against Tottenham tomorrow. Sags in the chair, Sam Matterface and Trevor Sinclair talking you through events from Goodison Park. And I'll keep you updated with Sheffield United against Bristol City as well. You're listening to FA Cup Game Day on TalkSport, and up after us tonight at 10 p.m. It's your chance to have your say on National Radio on the Sports Bar with Andy and Jason. 08717223344 is the number. Get your calls in and have your say on National Radio from 7:30 tonight. We could have a penalty shootout this evening. It's one of those games that it feels as though 0-0 after 90 minutes is an extreme possibility. But here, West Ham might have something to say about it. Olderbaker with a cross which hits Maguire. Bruno Fernandes is going to be coming on for Manchester United in a moment with 20 minutes to go. It's sliced by Wan-Bissaka back towards his own goal, and Henderson came back and got his right hand to it to tip it over the bar. We've had so few opportunities at either end, the defenders are trying to contribute themselves.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka it was who went to clear it with his left foot and skied it right up in the air. And for a split second, it looked like it might come down underneath the crossbar. Henderson just making sure and tips it round the post for a corner on the far side, but sloppy and a bit careless all round. And I think if West Ham can take a little bit of care, they could create a good opportunity in this game. I'm telling you, the way it feels to me, United have just been running short of ideas, and West Ham's shape a little bit now is enabling them, with Fredericks in particular down the right side. If they can find a cross from somewhere, they might create a chance here.
Well, they have a corner, and it's a left-footed away swinging delivery that Telles can attack and clear. Back from Noble to Cresswell over on the West Ham United left. Rice making a run down the outside left channel for him, turns it back towards Noble again, and Noble back through the midfield finding Ben Johnson. Johnson down towards Fornals, And Fornals has got Fredericks outside him, but he's taken the direct route into the penalty area. Henderson comes out and catches it. It wasn't hit hard enough to find Odebiku, and Manchester United will be able to bring it away. Mark Hughes.
Yeah, just thought the young lad might have made a name for himself.
Yeah.
Just get on the end of that cross, take the keep of the ball, everything, and knock her in the net. But he just pulled out, which a bit disappointing. Matic
playing it forward towards Telles. Knocked away by Dawson, and Fredericks neatly to Souček, to Noble. Mark Noble making the 518th appearance of his West Ham career today. Ball played for, but the flag is up from the assistant referee on this near touchline, and it's a double change that Manchester United are going to make. McTominay coming on, and Bruno Fernandes coming on as well. Bruno Fernandes, who won the FA Cup tie here against Liverpool. And the three of us talked you through the action in round 4 3 weeks ago. And he's going to come on here with 20 minutes of normal time remaining. Cavani set out for another, probably more strenuous warm-up, but here are the first 2 Manchester United changes, Andy.
Yeah, just waiting to see the numbers go up. Eventually, they go up. It looks like Nemanja Matic is the first one. But obviously with Bruno Fernandes standing there, it makes you feel like it's going to be Donny van der Beek. He's not left his position from the middle of the field as of yet. We're just waiting for the change to be made on the board. But I can't see it being anybody else. There you go.
He hadn't left his position, but his eyes hadn't left the board. I think he knew that his number was coming up, and it is Fernandes for Van der Beek. Pat on the back for the Dutchman, but he again is going to be disappointed.
Yeah, he's, look, you know, again, game time is precious to him at the moment, but he just can't seem to have the desired effect. It's just, he just doesn't seem to quite slot and fit into the way that United are moving forward, and it's difficult for him. They've got Bruno Fernandes on there now, and I'm sure he'll make an instant impact. He'll make a difference. He just does have that natural feel for that position, plays on the half turn, and they need someone up there to start knitting things together, because at the moment Greenwood, Martial, Rashford all playing very individually. They need someone to try and tie it together a bit, and more often than not that is Bruno Fernandes.
0-0 the score. 16 minutes of normal time to go. Fredericks chasing down the right, trying to get the better of Fred. Maguire comes across, half clears. Souček, such a dynamo of energy, making his way forward, but it's come off him and gone out of play for a goal kick. But the bottom line is that West Ham will fancy their chances. The longer it's 0-0, the closer you get to 90 minutes, the more important, more significant one moment of inspiration could be, or a well-executed set-piece, whatever it might prove to be. Hammers last knocked United out with Di Canio's winner in a 4th round tie here 20 years ago. Could tonight be their night? Manchester United looking for a 7th successive quarter-final appearance. They've won their last 11 5th round ties, including Derby last season. But they're making hard work of this. Bruno Fernandes, what a good first introduction that is. Finding Greenwood, right-hand side of the penalty area. Back it comes towards the edge of the box. Fernandes for Telles, setting up Fred. Fred didn't hit it. Check back goes the other way to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka has got Bruno Fernandes waiting for the pullback on the edge of the box. It's right foot inside the 6-yard box instead. McTominay then going up for it near the edge of the penalty area, and West Ham try and get it away. But that first pass from Bruno Fernandes just hit with the outside of the top of his right boot, perfectly weighted into space, and changing the angles for Manchester United in a way that Van der Beek was unable to do.
Yep, exactly. Brilliant pass from him, great awareness. And again, all of a sudden, it just changes the picture. It changes the dynamic of the way that United will attack so much. You know, certainly Mark Noble and Declan Rice now will have to get very close to Bruno Fernandes for what's left of the game to try and deny him and stop him. Otherwise he'll get on the ball and he'll start slotting Martial in and Rashford or Greenwood off that right side.
Manchester United in their best home run in the FA Cup for 109 years. Won their last 8 FA Cup ties here, scored 19 and conceded only 2, but haven't been able to find a breakthrough so far this evening. And West Ham have defended stoutly and resolutely and have done a very effective job up till now. 14 minutes of normal time to go, and McTominay plays it forward towards Greenwood, and Mason Greenwood The scorer in his last 2 appearances against West Ham United just plays it back towards Rashford. Rashford to Fred. Martial turning on the edge of the area, worked the angle, right-footed shot, hit Dawson. Good block from him. Fernandes then with the subsequent effort fires it wide, but the whistle's gone because West Ham have a player down inside their own penalty area. It's Safal, who's just ended up wearing one. He's got his hand to his head and his finger just in to the corner of his eye where he got hit, but I think he's okay and he's going to be able to continue. 13 to go as the snow begins to come down again.
Yeah, and again I think Sufal it was there just took a knock off of Martial, and it just gives West Ham a chance to, while he's getting himself getting his thoughts back together, just gives West Ham a chance to regroup, get their shape a little bit. Certainly since Bruno Fernandes has come on, and obviously McTominay now as well, his strength and authority in the middle of the park will be important in what's left of the game. But you sense for United, the more they can get Fernandes involved in West Ham territory, something will happen. He can create something out of nothing. He's got that sort of ability.
In League One tonight, wins for Plymouth and Oxford, Wigan and Peterborough, Portsmouth, the MK Dons and Shrewsbury came from behind to beat Sunderland. Fleetwood against Doncaster still going. That one is 1 apiece. And in League 2 tonight, there's been pretty much a full card as well. And wins there for Salford and Cheltenham and Southend and Stevenage. The game at Scunthorpe was abandoned and the others ended as draws. Fornals playing it out to the West Ham United left for Ben Johnson. 12 to go. It's 0-0 on TalkSport. Johnson turning away, just trying to invite the challenge from Greenwood. Lays it back for Rice. Rice forced to turn away. He goes back for Dawson. Now to Safal, who's okay. Right-footed ball over, hit for the run of Fredericks and probably hit too late anyway. Goes out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken by Dean Henderson. And extra time very much on the agenda here.
Yeah, it just needs one team just to make that one chance. I think that's where we are with it. The game itself being overall disappointing, if we're honest, but it only takes a moment to score a goal, and could go either way this game now.
Henderson, lofted ball down towards Tellez. Fredericks timed his jump well to make it difficult for Tellez to get anything on it. Sailed over the pair of them and out for a throw, which will be taken on the West Ham United right. Manchester United have been beaten 6 times at home this season. By Palace and Spurs, by Arsenal and Sheffield United in the league, by PSG in Europe, by Manchester City in the League Cup. And West Ham United hoping to make that 7 home defeats. But Maguire can bring it forward for Manchester United here. He's inside the centre circle. Thought about playing a pass forward a couple of times. Instead of going long with the diagonal towards Greenwood, he played a more measured, conservative ball to his right for Wan-Bissaka. Perhaps it is a little bit too conservative at times.
And then what happens? Yeah, Harry Maguire had the chance to maybe release, I think, Mason Greenwood down the right side, and he just hesitated for a split second. West Ham get everyone back behind the ball.
Tellez, Martial trying to roll his man on the edge of the area, comes back to him again. Rice did well, almost on his knees as he made the defensive interception on the edge of the penalty area. Tellez winning it back though. Here's Fred to Fernandes. Fernandes via a deflection which had Fabianski scampering, but it did enough, the deflection, to scoop it over the bar, and it comes down on the roof of the net now from Manchester United corner, 0-0.
Yep, 24-25 yards out there. Bruno Fernandes right in the middle of West Ham territory. When he receives that ball, he turns instantly, takes one touch, hits it, and it's a good block from Declan Rice. Then it loops up in the air for a horrible moment. Fabianski's probably thinking that one might be looping over his head, but it goes out for a corner on the far side.
Fernandes, the top scorer this season with 18, couldn't add to it there. In comes the corner off the top of Greenwood's head towards the congested 6-yard box. Back out for Fred, whose sliced volley goes well wide. West Ham able to mop up and try and get Fornals going on the counter-attack. Wan-Bissaka stopped that happening. And then Fred, who's the deepest of the Manchester United outfield players, will be able to run round it and pick it up, albeit right back, almost on the edge of his own D, and try and get United going again. But we're in the final 10 minutes of normal time. Bruno Fernandes. Work forward towards Marcus Rashford. Bournemouth already through, beating Burnley by 2 goals to 0 at Turf Moor earlier. Who will be going through from this one? Still no closer to knowing. With 9 minutes of normal time, then potentially another 30 minutes of extra time ahead of us, and then who knows, maybe penalties as well. 0-0 the scoreline here on TalkSport. Alex Telles with the ball in his hands. Throw into the feet of Anthony Martial. So foul behind him, making life difficult. Turn back towards Fred. Fred's crossfield ball bounces once through the centre circle as it makes its way out towards Wan-Bissaka. Comes back again the other way from Scott McTominay, who's now got more than 100 United games behind him. In it comes, left-footed from Telles, and it was decent movement across the near post from Anthony Martial. It was, by the time he got there, a prohibitive angle, and Dawson defended it really well. Made his life difficult, and Martial's headed it well wide.
I thought actually Martial could have done a bit more with that. It's a decent ball in. He is a yard across the front of Craig Dawson. It's a fast ball in. I don't think the header really has got any genuine conviction in it to try and get that on target.
Martial, a player who scored in the quarter-finals and the semi-finals when United won the Cup in 2016. 78 goals in his 250 Manchester United appearances, but only 4 in the Premier League this season. 2 of those coming last week. Now Bruno Fernandes overhits a ball out towards Greenwood. That is a collector's item. It goes out for a throw that will be taken on the West Ham United left. 7.5 minutes to go. 0-0 the scoreline. From 4 a.m. every weekday morning, you can download the TalkSport Daily podcast, which will include some of the best bits from TalkSport and TalkSport 2. And if you miss any reaction for tonight's matches, will be ready for you tomorrow morning. It's the TalkSport Daily, and you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Acast. We'll have the reaction from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and David Moyes on that for you. 7 minutes to go. McTominay battling, losing out just for a moment to Fornals, who will try and turn away from Fred. Noble has it. Noble has done really well. It's a sprightly turn in the midfield and just suckered Bruno Fernandes in. McTominay wins it back and then wins a throw as he plays it forward, and it's out for a throw which will be taken by Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the Manchester United right. 6.5 to go. If you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, what's going through your mind now? How do you plan in this circumstance? So you've got 6.5 minutes of normal time to go, 10 minutes of playing time maybe if you count stoppage time, but we've got the spectre of extra time there as well. Yeah, it has petered out in terms of the energy of the game. Everyone's working hard, they're trying to make things happen, but not a great deal of invention to any of the two sides play, and that's surprising given the quality on show. So it could be just an individual error that decides this game. Well, Cavani's going to be coming off the bench in a moment with 5 and a bit minutes of normal time remaining. Bruno Fernandes goes back from McTominay, and the blonde-haired Lancastrian, the Scottish international, goes back to Fred, to Maguire, to Lindelof, and all bar Henderson in the West Ham United half. But they have shown much more attacking intent in this second period since changing the shape, the Hammers. Here's Alex Telles, first time ball cushion inside the box for him. It's just painting by numbers, really hitting hope for Marcus Rashford, and didn't find him. And then a little bustle between Fredericks and Telles sees Manchester United full-back on the deck, and the West Ham United full-back shepherding it over the line and out of play for a goal kick, which Fabianski will take. In terms of the match stats, it's 65-35 in Manchester United's favour, 10 attempts to 1 in Manchester United's favour, but only 2 on target, and that will be the frustration. Yeah, that's it. They just haven't worked Fabianski enough. We're now seeing Edinson Cavani just preparing, getting ready to come on, and of course Ole Gunnar Solskjaer also not only thinking about extra time, but there are penalties potentially at the end of this, so you want some boys out there that are capable of stepping up and knocking one of them in as well, and he's certainly got that now. So Cavani coming on for Green. Yeah, just to make the point, I think United really need to just knock balls maybe from wider positions into good areas and get front men to attack them and show some aggression. I think that's what's been lacking. It looks to me like they're looking for the perfect pass and the nicely weighted ball into space. You're not going to get that when the opposition is camped in there. Sometimes you just got to put the ball into good areas, get across people, make things happen and affect them. Well, Edison Cavani scored in his last 2 appearances. He's got some cup record in his career. Won 5 French Cups. He scored in 3 finals. He won the Coppa Italia, scored in that final as well back in 2012. And hoping to make an impact in this FA Cup run for Manchester United here. But the ball has been sloppily put out of play for a throw which will be taken over on the West Ham left. 86 gone, 0-0. Hammers understandably in no hurry with any of these restarts of play. The ball was thrown forward. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was in with a very firm challenge on Fornals. It goes back out of play for another throw, which will be taken by Cresswell. Johnson ahead of him. The young striker Odobiko ahead of him as well. And Scott McTominay can bring it away. McTominay just trying to open his stride, has done well to withstand the pressure of Fornals. Good advantage play by the referee, and it's an excellent ball from McTominay to thread through, and then Bruno Fernandes is playing in Cavani, but his touch may be a little bit heavy. The flag stayed down initially, as is the way these days, but it did then come up, and it wouldn't have counted anyway. It certainly would have been a VAR inspection that the officials would have expected to see the goal chalked off. Hammers are going to make another change, their final one for now, although they can make another once we go into extra time. Ben Rama is the player who will be introduced shortly. Noble played forward. Odobiko couldn't hold it up, comes back, and his eagerness to win back possession has fouled his man. Rashford gets back to his feet, and the change will be made. Fornals coming off, Ben Rama coming on to replace him. Andy.
Yeah, again, and I think when I've seen Ben Rama play recently, I saw him at Villa Park where I thought he played particularly well. Great technical ability, close control. So it looks like he's going up the middle, and Odobiko just to one side of him, Souček the other, with Rice and Mark Noble still holding in the middle of the park.
Fernandes losing out. Ben Rama, whose West Ham career perhaps got off to a little bit of a slow start, but he's improved game by game. And free kick has gone the Hammers' way now in the midfield. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes to go. And not the lengthy stoppages in this second half that we had in the first, but with the substitutions that have been made, could easily be 4 minutes to be added. And Noble will take this free kick, just clipping it forward. Fredericks flicking it on over his head. Maguire with a commanding header can get it away. Safal battles near side with Martial. It comes off Noble and goes out of play from the West Ham captain for a throw, which Bruno Fernandes will take. 0-0 in the 90th minute. Fernandes playing it forward. Martial takes a touch, flips it. Excellent ball out towards the right-hand side for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Late drama in Manchester United's game against Everton at the weekend, with Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring with the last touch, but Manchester United have scored more goals in stoppage time than any other Premier League team this season. Can they get one here in the FA Cup and get the job done? Telles, left-footed ball in from him. Fabianski backpedaling, but didn't have to take the ball at its highest point. Claimed it comfortably, pulled it into his midriff away from Cavani. And now we'll just run towards the edge of the penalty area. Little handshake between Fornals and David Moyes. 2 or 3 minutes after he was brought off. Just made his way round the touchline. The ball goes down to the West Ham United left-hand side for Johnson. Johnson back, looking for Ben Rama, couldn't find it. Bruno Fernandes will be able to capitalise on that. Could be a costly error as we go into only 2 added minutes, which mystifies me. We talked in the first half about the fact that it was only 3 when there'd been 2 lengthy stoppages, and now only 2 minutes. We've had about 9 changes in this second half.
I think the ref wants to go.
Well, if he wants to go home, play 10 minutes of added time, we'll get a chance for a winner before it goes to extra time. The ball's out of play for a throw on the West Ham United right. Safal launching it down the touchline. Maguire's headed it away. Lindelof to Maguire. Fred. Bruno Fernandes bypassing McTominay with a pass that Lindelof can pick up and work it out to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now to Scott McTominay. Goal for either side, now wins it. And there's a turnover of possession. Souček can bring it forward and find Ben Rama. Ben Rama's got Ben Johnson to his left-hand side. Johnson's got two to try and hit in the middle. It's taken a deflection on its way through. Goes out of play for a corner. Newton appeals that maybe it should have been a penalty. Hit an arm.
There was some appeals there, I think, from Ben Johnson, because Aaron Wan-Bissaka threw himself in front of him to try and block that. And he certainly got something on it. I haven't seen any rerun of that. We're just waiting to see whether the referee, I think, is just having a look at this, just having this one checked.
Well, Ben Rama has been told to wait by the referee. It's Craig Pawson who's the VAR.
He hurtled himself in front of the cross there, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He would have been airborne, whether that's hit his hand in any way, shape or form.
And they're happy that it isn't a penalty. So the corner comes in from Noble. Dawson with a header. Wan-Bissaka got it away before it fell for Souček at the far post, who would have had a tap in. And that was a vital piece of defending. It's kept Manchester United in the FA Cup. Back it comes from Rashford. 2 minutes almost up. And it will be extra time surely any moment now. Alex Telles with a throw. What a defensive block that was from Aaron Wan-Bissaka to keep it at 0-0. Throw taken by Telles, finding Fred. Fred to Lindelof. Now to Scott McTominay. And out towards Wan-Bissaka, the hero of the hour as far as United are concerned. And here's, appropriately, the last touch of the 90. And we're heading for extra time, but we're only heading for extra time because of his goal line clearance from a Dawson flick that's been bound for either the net or Souček. Wan-Bissaka had other ideas, and we've got another 30 minutes ahead of us. After 90, it's Manchester United 0, West Ham 0.
Jim Proudfoot with your commentary tonight. Of course, don't forget, tomorrow night we've got another terrific game up here in the Northwest. It's Everton against Spurs. Sam Matterface and Trevor Sinclair will be alongside me at Goodison Park. If you're just joining us, Bournemouth
are from United, and And West Ham's shape, we said that David Moyes had to do something, and he did, Mark, and they looked a lot better for it, didn't they?
It did. There's going to be some more changes, and Jim Proudfoot will tell us about that. Just a final thought from you, Mark, as well, in that, Van Beek, De Beek, and one or two others. I feel for them a little bit in a way, in a sense that they've not sensed a full Old Trafford this season in a cup competition. If you're struggling for your form and everything, that cannot be easy.
Yeah, difficult times for footballers. I mean, it's quite bizarre, really. You're in a huge stadium, holds 70-odd thousand. Shouts from the sidelines, echoes around the empty seats, and it's not quite how everybody feels it should be, obviously, for obvious reasons. But you've got to make the best of it. Yep. You've got to make things happen. You've got to put those things to one side and play what's facing you, and that includes the opposition who will set problems for you.
Well, Jim, half an hour, possibly penalties. Haven't given you long here to tell us about the substitutions.
No, we're just back underway. It's a double change for Manchester United in the full-back areas, and with Brandon Williams coming on for Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw on for Telles at left-back. So we're in the first period of extra time. 0-0 the scoreline. Bruno Fernandes has it. Just the one shot on target in that second half for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes out towards Shaw. Shaw getting in towards Martial. He did that run. It might have found Rashford in a good position. Fernandes can find Rashford, but Safal's there to knock it away, and then Rice will just step round the first challenge of Fred, who caught him, and it's a free kick which will be taken by West Ham United about 10 yards outside their own box. So the Hammers now lining up with Fabianski in goal. Johnson on the left of a back five with Cresswell, Dawson and Safal, and then Fredericks on the right. And then in midfield it's Noble and Rice, and Benrahma and Odebiku up front, and Souček floating in and around. Manchester United team I'll give you in a moment as Fabianski clears it. It's a high header back from Harry Maguire, who's hardly missed a minute of the campaign. Now Brandon Williams, the youngster, hasn't had too many opportunities this season after making great progress in the last campaign. But Brandon Williams, a player that's got many admirers up and down the country. Southampton were a team that were very interested in taking him on loan at one stage. He's playing at right back, Lindelof and Maguire in the middle, Shaw at left back now, Fred and McTominay with Rashford on the right, Martial on the left, Cavani going through the middle, and Bruno Fernandes trying to pull the strings in behind him. Here is McTominay, and he plays it through the midfield towards Luke Shaw, and Shaw will just pass it forward out towards Anthony Martial, and might feel more comfortable in this position coming in off that left hand side. He finds Fred. It's 0-0 in extra time here on TalkSport. We're in the 93rd minute. Back from the blonde-haired Mancunian defender Williams, finding Shaw. Shaw is midway between the edge of the centre circle and the penalty area. It's played back towards Martial. Bruno Fernandes tried to control it, knocked away by the Hammers back line, and then Maguire swooping up, gets it away from Odebiku and plays it back for Williams again. And Williams controls it, surveys his options, finds Maguire, and Maguire goes back for Fred. 92 and a half gone. Ball played forward, straight through for Fabianski, and it remains Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. Andy Townsend.
Yeah, it does. Since Cavani has come on, you have one little glimmer of a through ball from Bruno Fernandes. He was probably just a yard offside anyway, but he hasn't seen a lot of the ball. So they'll be desperate to try and create something from him. He's the one player I see out on the park at the moment. If you can give him something in the 6-yard box, he looks like the one that might settle the tie.
Johnson trying to play it forward, and it's gone out for what has been given as a Manchester United throw. David Moyes was mystified and tells Lee Mason exactly that. It's only the second FA Cup tie that David Moyes has ever had here at Old Trafford. He lost the first, which was with United against Swansea. Great play, good ball juggling on the Manchester United left with Martial, who took it down, headed it past his man, but coming across to put it out of play is Declan Rice at the expense of Fredericks, I beg your pardon, at the expense of a corner, which will be taken over on that Manchester United left-hand side by Shaw. First corner of extra time, United's 6th of the game. Fernandes making his way forward, standing right next to Cavani, who makes a darting near-post run, creating space for Maguire, who's headed it on, but didn't get the conviction on the header that he needed. Rice will pressurise as the ball is played back by Fred to Williams, and then Rashford works it out to the Manchester United left for Shaw. Shaw, good shape on that ball in, just too high for McTominay. Johnson had time to take a touch and get it away. And then Williams losing out to Odobiko, a player that he will known from the latest time here at Old Trafford. Williams has been able to guide it back to his goalkeeper, and Manchester United will turn and build from the back again with Fred. 94 gone, 0-0. Bruno Fernandes for Manchester United. Looks up and sees Rashford in space on the right. West Ham playing with a 5 but defending very narrow. And that'll create space for the likes of Shaw, and now Rashford on the Manchester United right in a more advanced position. Bruno Fernandes lays it back for Fred to McTominay. Can't get a shot in on the turn. Goes back for Fred. Fred now finds Rashford. Williams making a run inside him, and then Rashford nods it on, trying to get round Benrahma, who has just stood firm. Made sure that he didn't dive in, didn't foul Marcus Rashford, and it's come off the England man and gone out for a goal kick, which will be taken by Lucas Fabianski. We played the first 5 minutes of extra time, and certainly, as expected, Mark Hughes, no real discernible change to the pattern of play, and it remains 0-0.
No, you suspect that United have recognised that they're going to have to put more balls into the box. Luke Shaw looks more inclined to do that. He's had a couple of opportunities looking to knock decent balls in and ask questions of the opposition back 4, 5 or however many they're having there in the moment. But I think that's the right way to go about it at this late stage. You've got to make things happen.
They just played safe, Mark, for me all night long, haven't they? Too safe, United.
No one prepared to take a risk. Times you've got to do that.
McTominay to Rashford, who's flicked it round the corner with his heel. The offside flag was up against Cavani. Dawson had beaten him to it anyway, and it's a free kick to West Ham, which Cresswell will take. It's been one of the features of the night all the way through the game, that the likes of Cresswell and Noble in no hurry to restart proceedings from any of these free kicks. And that's not a criticism. I want my team to do exactly the same. Just try and run the clock down as much as you can. And still, they haven't taken it. And now the referee is going to have a word. And he's just pointing to Cresswell. That delays the restart even further. And only now does he take it. Long left-footed ball forward towards the edge of the penalty area. So check the target. Beaten in the air. Williams with the ball clearance. Benrahma is able to pick it up. He's worked it to his right-hand side. Rice couldn't quite turn it round the corner to get West Ham going. As a Manchester United player has stayed down. It was Luke Shaw, but he's getting back to his feet now. United breaking forward quickly at the other end with Bruno Fernandes. Outside him is Fred. He's clicked it inside the area looking for Cavani. More appeals for a handball. Can United get a shot in? Yes, they can. It's Scott McTominay who gives them the lead. 7 minutes into extra time. Manchester United 1, West Ham 0. Finally, the deadlock is broken by a man who's making a happy knack of arriving late onto ball in and around the edge of the penalty area. He scored in 3 successive games, and midway through the first period of extra time, Manchester United find the breakthrough, and are they heading for a 7th successive FA Cup quarter-final?
That's a bit more like them for sure, because Declan Rice, it was high up the field, who just overrun it a little bit. Luke Shaw pinched it off him, and that's a bit more like United. Classically moving up the pitch really quickly. They had good numbers in the box when the ball arrived in there, and Scott McTominay doing really well, backing it up from the middle of the park, as you should do, just making sure he's there to apply a finishing touch. They had chances, West Ham, to clear, they didn't, and it was a really clever finish actually in the end. Not an easy one, that, Mark.
No, but he arrived at the right time. Lots of bodies in the box, trying to get on the end of things, just making things happen, and it's a good finish in the end.
It is a good finish, that. It's a really good slot, that, and an excellent finish from Scott McTominay. And the game's been screaming out for that, for a bit of a counter where United have numbers arriving in the box, where they go with a bit of intent. First time they've done it for what seems like a long time, and it worked like a treat. It worked a really good effect. Excellent finish.
Well, he scored the winner in round 3 against Watford, and has he just scored the winner in round 5 against West Ham United? Manchester United 1, West Ham 0. Benrahma getting towards the byline. He's beaten away by Henderson, but through the penalty area safely to Marcus Rashford. And now Manchester United have another chance to bring it forward. They've only lost at home to Tottenham in the league this season when they've been 1-0 up. Hammers have come from behind in matches against Leeds and Palace to win, and in fact in the league, in more than half of the games in which they've gone 1-0 down, they have still taken a positive result. But not too much time. 20 minutes of playing time to go here, there or thereabouts. Bruno Fernandes has possession. Manchester United leading 1-0. Here is McTominay, who scored in the 9-0 goal, not dissimilar actually from the edge of the penalty area, stroking home. I think it was goal number 6 against Southampton, and then he also scored against Everton, what had appeared as though he was going to be the winner the other day, and scores again now. 3 in 3 for him, and up to 7 for the season, which is a tidy return from the role that he plays. Declan Rice knocks it away, straight into the heels of Bruno Fernandes. Cavani, who's always just the epitome of work rate, comes back and sticks his foot in to try and win it back, but put his foot in. The referee didn't like it, and it's a free kick which will be taken by the Hammers and taken by Safar to Noble. 1-0 to Manchester United in this first period of extra time. Maguire coming across. Ryan Fredericks has got possession though. West Ham have to be more proactive now. Benrahma trying to do exactly that, almost able to thread it through for Souček's run, but Henderson comes out and saves.
Yeah, unlucky. Nice idea from Benrahma. Picked it up just about 30 yards out. Looked like he was shaping for a shot, and then just a cute little reverse pass looking for Souček, and it just couldn't quite find him, and it just harmlessly runs through to Henderson in the United goal. But West Ham now, they've got to force something. They've got to try and find the energy required to consistently worry United now. You'd like to think United have a goal in extra time. They haven't got to be in a rush to do anything. So it's all about West Ham, how much they can force errors and keep their foot to the floor. Not easy at this stage of a game.
Lindelof plays it out to Luke Shaw. And Shaw will bring it forward without a challenge coming in on him. Play it out towards Anthony Martial. Bruno Fernandes forward again for Martial. All good control and unfair control as well. Just bounced up and hit his arm, I think, and the free kick will be taken inside the penalty area by Lucas Fabianski. So 1-0 to Manchester United. And in extra time, West Ham haven't had a shot. In the second half, they only had one shot, which was off target. In the first half, they only had one shot, which was off target. Yeah. 101 minutes in, 2 attempts. That shows where they need to improve.
Yeah, if they are going to go out of this competition, that's been the problem this evening. It's just that they haven't quite had that threat at the top end of the pitch to really ask any serious questions of United. It's unfortunate they've had injuries that's hampered them, but they've had a good go, you have to say that. But it's looking, mind you, we said this at the weekend, that Man United were likely to manage the game to a conclusion. It could very well change, but let's see what this attack does.
Well, they've got a chance here, 4 against 3. Bruno Fernandes makes his way forward and over hits the ball for Martial.
Wow.
And it just rolls over the dead ball line and out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, that's a waste from Bruno Fernandes, because they had options left and right of him there, and great situation, and you put your money on him there, just rolling the right weight of pass into Anthony Martial so he can go and finish, or then roll it across the 6-yard box for a Cavani finish. But Bruno Fernandes there just overhits it, and it rolls out for a goal kick to West Ham.
Fabianski will take it in his yellow goalkeeping garb away to our right-hand side. High ball forward. Johnson the target. Scott McTominay beat him easily, and then Rashford just takes an awkward one under pressure from Benrahma and has fallen down, holding the small of his back, Marcus Rashford. And Saïd Benrahma will go across and offer a hand by way of apology, but it will be a free kick to Manchester United. 1-0 they lead. Haven't lost in round 5 since 2006 when they were beaten by Liverpool. They haven't lost here in a 5th round tie since Arsenal beat them back in 2003. And looking at the moment, good value to make it through this stage of the competition for a 12th successive time. So some run that. Cavani will chase. The ball goes down past him and out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken by Fabianski. And West Ham in a hurry to restart play now. Fabianski taking it, finding Cresswell. Back from him to Mark Noble. Johnson showing for the ball in the midfield. Noble turning under pressure from Cavani. Down it comes for Cresswell again. Manchester United trying to stop him getting out. Johnson, neat turn from him. Well played. And a good crossfield ball as well. Played out towards the right-hand touchline for Ryan Fredericks. His ball goes just past Sofal, who had to come back and retrace his steps. And then Declan Rice links up with Noble and goes back for Craig Dawson. Dawson to Cresswell. The closing moments of the first period of extra time. 1-0, Manchester United leading West Ham here on TalkSport and in the United States as well on Sirius XM FC. Souček towards halfway into the feet of Ben Rama. Back for Souček again. Sofal, we just saw the ball for a moment roll between his feet, but he was able to maintain possession. Finds Dawson. Dawson to Mark Noble, dropping deep and splitting the two left-hand centre halves again to Noble. Back for Dawson. Dawson over the halfway line to Ryan Fredericks. Fredericks turns it round the corner where Harry Maguire will get there first and put it out of play. And it's a throw which will be taken over on the far touchline. And we go into one additional minute at the end of this first period of extra time, with Scott McTominay's goal having provided the breakthrough. Manchester United leading by a goal to nil. Luke Shaw into the feet of Fred. Back for Maguire. And Maguire looking long, just getting it out of harm's way, knowing that he's deep in this half. Dawson able to mop up, and Cresswell will play down towards Ben Johnson. Williams harrying him, catches him, and it's a free kick which will be taken by West Ham on halfway.
And a chance here for West Ham to load it up and put it in the box. Aaron Cresswell signals to Craig Dawson and everybody else, go on you go. And so you're looking, you just want to float something up there and get people attacking it and have people aware to where it's going to drop.
United keep the line outside the penalty area. It's hitting deeper than that and easily claimed by Henderson. And Henderson's kick from hands might be the last action of the first period of extra time. It is. And we've had the breakthrough. Scott McTominay with a very well taken goal. 7 minutes into extra time. And at the turnaround in extra time, Mark Saggers, it is 1-0 to Manchester United.
08717 223344 if you'd like to get in touch with Andy and Jace later on tonight on the Sports Bar, open for business once we're over. Declan McCarthy will be getting all of the reaction to this game, whichever way it goes, going Manchester United's way. You'll hear that with the boys just a little later on tonight. Tomorrow, Everton against Spurs. Sam Matterface, your commentator, with Trevor Sinclair alongside him. We're with you at Goodison Park. It's a later kickoff at 8:15 tonight because, we've got games all over the place, haven't we? With Swansea against Manchester City on 2, and Reading against Brentford. There's Leicester against Brighton to come as well, and then Thursday, Wolves, Southampton and Barnsley against Chelsea. We've got it all covered for you here. Again, you know, at times here you think with West Ham United that Route 1, I don't see any other reason really. Route 1, just have a go. They've not threatened, have they?
No, it'll be frustrating for David Moyes, I think, because they've had a go in terms of energy and trying to do their jobs and getting a good shape, and for the vast majority of the game they've got people behind the ball, made it difficult for Man United. Man United haven't had that many clear-cut chances, but you never sensed that they really were going to have that sustained amount of pressure that you need just to build pressure and maybe get a goal during that period. They've got one more period of extra time to maybe change that around, because clearly they're going out of the competition if they don't.
They had Sags, didn't they? They had Craig Dawson's header just before, right on the end of 90 minutes, and I think that's the best way back for them. A set play, a wide free kick, get it in that box, get bodies in there. Anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly that. Well, here we go. Last 15 tonight. Jim Proudfoot.
Well, West Ham haven't won away to Premier League opposition in the FA Cup since they beat Manchester City across town from here in 2006 on the way to the final. What can they do here? 15 minutes to get themselves back into the game. They trail to that McTominay goal, and Manchester United, who are attacking the Stretford end in this second period of extra time, have possession from the restart with the young Manchester United fan, Brandon Williams. Williams back to Lindelof, into the feet of Bruno Fernandes. Back he comes from Rashford to Scott McTominay, and McTominay put under pressure by Odebiku, making his West Ham United debut. That was a night that had a torrid start for them with the injuries. Originally to Ogbonna, then to Diop, who came on to replace him. And then Yarmolenko went lame 5 minutes into the second half after looked like a bang to that troublesome knee. Odebiku on to replace him. It just hasn't been the Hammers' night. They've defended steadfastly, restricted the opportunities, and created very little of their own, and they have to amend that as soon as they can, otherwise they're going out of the competition at the fifth round stage again. Safal wins the throw, but he's deep inside his own half in his own right back position, and the first 90 seconds of the second period of extra time have passed without incident. Andy Townsend.
Yeah, and it's just whether West Ham have the energy and they have, you know, the physical capability now of creating something worthwhile to try and get back in the game. United have got some really experienced pros out there now, some top players. You'd like to think if they can't create another chance themselves, they've got more than enough to keep the ball and make sure that they deny West Ham and don't allow them any sort of way back into this tie.
Here is Fernandes. Shaw made an early run. Fernandes thought he made it too early, and so he just literally stopped, foot on the ball, waited for the defenders to follow the run from Shaw, and then played a ball back square through the midfield. Martial's got it now. Shaw's continued his run. Fabianski off his line very quickly. But that's the kind of run that we never used to see from Luke Shaw. He's a player whose confidence is burgeoning.
Oh yeah, he's having the best of it since he's been at United right now, Luke Shaw. And again, that was a good run, sharp run, nice little give and go, and a 10-15 yard burst from him. Just a little bit overhit the pass back to him, but no, he looks a player completely transformed. Confidence, you know, certainly when Mourinho was here, he suffered and struggled confidence-wise, but at the moment he's on top of his game. Good to see.
Now you're with TalkSport, live and exclusive national radio commentary tonight of Manchester United leading West Ham by a goal to nil tomorrow. It's Swansea against Manchester City and Leicester against Brighton, both over on TalkSport 2, and Everton Spurs here on TalkSport. And then, of course, coming up over the course of the weekend, we've got all the action covered for you, including Manchester City against Spurs, which is our 5:30 Saturday tea time game as part of Game Day Live. Leicester against Liverpool at 12:30 as well. You won't miss a kick of any action of consequence. Ball is played down towards Fredericks, and that was handball. Surely it just bounced up off the deck, and maybe the fact that it did take a little bounce before it hit his arm was what saved him. He has it, gets it away from Fred, finds Ben Rama, the former Brentford man, with time just to take a quick look around to see what was on. Fred still snapping at his heels. Ben Rama can keep it alive for West Ham and lay it back for Noble to Cresswell, and now out to the left-hand side where Rice is operating. Rice to Ben Rama. Poor ball back to him, and Manchester United will be able to stride forward. It's Lindelof, and he's gone some 30 yards forward, 40 yards forward, and then a really poor pass out towards Rashford. But Rashford can mop it up before it goes out of play for a throw. Any chance of a counter-attack had gone. Rashford picks up possession, goes back for Brandon Williams, now to McTominay, who finds Harry Maguire, and Shaw, hands outstretched, demanding the ball from his captain. Cavani. Too much on that for Bruno Fernandes, and he goes through for Fabianski. Now 10 minutes of extra time remaining. It's still Manchester United 1, West Ham United 0. Mark Hughes.
Yeah, doesn't look like there's going to be too much change from that, given what we've seen up to this point. West Ham will have to at some point just try and get bodies forward, try and make something happen, but United, you sense, have got complete control of this game. It's in their hands and they should go through.
Foul by Cavani. Free kick taken very quickly by West Ham. Push from Shaw on Fredericks. Another free kick, which will be taken on the Hammers' right-hand side. Haven't had a yellow card tonight, incidentally. Lindelof, should he receive one in the time that remains, would be suspended from the quarter-final. West Ham are about to make a final change, which will be their sixth. Such are the FA Cup rules. You can have 5 in 90 minutes and then another one if it goes to extra time. And Lanzini will be coming on. He's flicked on by Souček now inside the penalty area, but Shaw had time to let it bounce. Bruno Fernandes cushions it for Fred. Cavani works it wide for of the tiring Martial, but he's still got the better of Safal. And now Fred will make a run to his left-hand side. Cavani through the middle, creating space for Rashford, and he just couldn't pick him out.
Oh my goodness, it was such a great chance there for United to just wrap the tie up. They were 4 on 3. Just such a sloppy, careless pass from Martial when it mattered.
Now the hammers at the other end. Benrahma for Fredericks. Back for Saïd Benrahma again. Benrahma tried to chop it onto his right foot to get a shot and couldn't. Clipped in though by Fredericks. Heads go up for it, and Odobiko getting it towards the dead ball line and way off target. Shaw mops up for Manchester United in his left back position and then plays it out towards Martial, who can turn on the edge of his own penalty area. 8.5 to go. 1-0 Manchester United lead it in extra time. Martial, right-footed ball from him, brought down under control by Brandon Williams. Good ball forward from the young fullback to find McTominay, and McTominay driving into the heart of West Ham territory. Cavani lets it run. Bruno Fernandes has it, right-footed ball scooped in from him, and Rashford maybe just lost the flight of it. It came down behind him and goes out of play for a goal kick. Well, Odobiko is the player coming off. He came on as a substitute early in the second half of normal time, and Lanzini is coming on to replace him. Final throw of the dice for West Ham with 112 on the clock. 1-0 Manchester United.
Just trying to, again, just another change, just some fresh legs, hopefully some fresh ideas too. But it's been a long night for West Ham. It's been difficult. They've had to make so many changes, and David Moyes had to tweak the shape of the team, and it's been that sort of evening for them, and it's going to be a punishing one for them, you feel. Again, as Mark said, you know, there's no way United should be letting this slip now in any way, shape or form. They should be making sure and taking a bit more care when they have those little turnovers in the middle of the park. They just need to stitch a pass or two together and they'll get one of their boys in at the top of the field.
Well, Lanzini might be frustrated that he hasn't had more than 8 minutes of extra time tonight. He has started all 5 previous cup ties this season. Premier League minutes difficult to come by. He's only had 2 starts in the league. He's come on for Odobiko, the 18-year-old substitute, being subbed back off. Here's Martial on the left-hand side on halfway for Manchester United. Just a possession game from here on in for them. Fred to Cavani. Couldn't supply the return ball. Declan Rice brings it away. Benrahma's dropped that little bit deeper. Forward it comes from Souček. Rice couldn't get it into his stride, but he didn't lose the ball significantly, and he's laid it back for Benrahma again. Fredericks made an early darting run forward for him. Good ball from him first time into Souček. Back towards Fredericks, who can turn towards the edge of the penalty area. He's worked it wide for Johnson. Johnson trying to get himself into a shooting position in a central area, 25 yards out. Forced to go backwards to Rice. Rice now to Safal. Safal turning away from Martial. Left-footed ball clipped in from him. Lindelof heads it away. Back for Rice to Saïd Benrahma. Benrahma on the edge of the area. Lanzini to Johnson. First-time ball from Johnson. Benrahma with the header. Straight at Henderson. Could have been 1-1.
Could have been. Should have been 1-1. I mean, it was a great opportunity from West Ham there. There was a decent cross. They had a good little spell of possession, forced it into a wide area, cross in the box, and the header from Benrahma. He still had a bit to do, in all honesty. However, you'd like to think he might have had Henderson just scrambling a little bit more. I think actually as the cross comes in, it looks like had it have ended up in the back of the net, it'd have been offside, Jim, but would hopefully have got a little bit more out of that.
Well, here's Martial making his way forward now, the other end for Manchester United, leading 1-0. Cavani, now Bruno Fernandes, right-footed ball in, hits the foul, and Noble can dig it clear. And still, Manchester United haven't got the job done. And Kieran McKenna on the bench took his gloves off, threw them to the ground in dismay at the inability of Manchester United just to buy themselves that little bit of insurance and get a 2-goal cushion. Seen once this week that games aren't over until they're over. Dean Henderson has the ball in his hands, and we take it to the final 5 minutes of extra time. 1-0, courtesy of that McTominay goal. Cavani chasing. Dawson there though for West Ham. Back for Fabianski. The Polish international taking a touch, rolling the studs of his right boot over the top of the ball and then turning the angle of his body to smack it upfield. Lindelof repels it with a header back into West Ham territory, but Noble's on that And then Rice finds Johnson. And back he comes for Declan Rice again. Now to Benrahma. Benrahma on the edge of the centre circle. Played forward by him. McTominay in there strongly. Cavani's got it. And now Edison Cavani over towards the right-hand side. Rashford chasing. Johnson back. And a play, though, for another Manchester United throw. And all of a sudden, they've only got 4 minutes to withstand to make it through to the quarterfinals.
Again, they should be seeing this out from this sort of area of the field. They're in West Ham territory. They don't have to be in a rush to go forward. They just have to keep the ball sensibly. There's a lot of frustration on the United bench. As you mentioned, Kieran McKenna and other members of the United staff frustrated at their lack of care when they could get this game wrapped up. That's all it needs, just a little bit of thought, a little bit of care, and they'll create another good chance.
Cavani to Martial. Fred. Just coaxing the ball out to the right-hand touchline for Rashford. Rashford works it back for Lindelof to Fred, and now to Scott McTominay. Takes the ball back into a more central position from whence it came. Got the better of Noble. Finds Martial. Shaw forward in support for him. Martial goes alone. And it's a comfortable save from Fabianski.
It's even that there. Luke Shaw's made a fantastic run beyond Anthony Martial. Just put him in. Roll him in. Secure the tie. Get the game won. Yes, you want to score a goal, of course, but there are other people better placed. Put them in. Get the job done properly and professionally.
Yeah, you have to say in this period United have been careless, and you fear for them because it only takes one good ball in from West Ham, which they're fully capable of, before the end of the game to lose the lead that they've got. So you just sense that it could have been a lot easier. If they are to go through, they'll be pleased with the result, but disappointed with the performance.
Yeah.
Lanzini works it back for Noble. 2.5 minutes to go for West Ham. 2.5 minutes for Manchester United to hold on. Ben Johnson to Lanzini. I say hold on. There hasn't really been too much of a feel of holding on. But Benrahma's got it now. Safal arriving round the back. He's done really well to keep that alive. All he could do was get something on it and hope that it ended up being an inviting ball inside the penalty area. He was too close to Henderson, who could just get his hands to it. But it was great athleticism at this stage of the game to be able to cover the ground quickly enough to throw his right foot at it and keep it alive. Maguire goes back for his goalkeeper. Henderson playing his way into and then out of trouble very quickly. Gets it forward left-footed and it goes out of play for a throw. You know, it's interesting, when Manchester United played Sheffield United the first time, Henderson was in goal. Obviously, he spent last season on loan at Sheffield United. Chris Wilder had 2 on him all the time. Whenever the ball was played back to Dean Henderson, they bombed after him because they obviously didn't fancy him with the ball at his feet. And that was an illustration of it there. He got away with it, kept his nerve. Ben Johnson down towards Fredericks. Fredericks controlling it, corner of the penalty area. Fred knocks it away. Martial back for Shaw, and all of a sudden, as the clock ticks to 10 o'clock, we've only got 90 seconds to go. And Fred's pushed there by Safal. Doesn't like the decision, but Manchester United nearly there now. Mark Hughes.
Yeah, they've just got to be careful in this last period now. See it out to a conclusion. They got stung by Everton at the weekend. You wouldn't like to think that it'll happen again, but they just got to be careful. They've just been sloppy in this last period, and it didn't need to be like that. Again,
I think there's times when they can turn West Ham round, knock it. They're going back towards the goalkeeper who's under pressure. West Ham are going to try and force and squeeze and press as much as they possibly can. And United playing in and around their own 6-yard box is a little bit unnecessary, I think, and a little bit dangerous. One thing's trying to run the clock down, but also if you're taking risks and a little bit unnecessary at this stage of a game, it's fraught with danger.
Fabianski's got the ball on the edge of his 6-yard box. We've got, 30 seconds to go. Maybe not even that. Bruno Fernandes winning it back for Manchester United. Well, Lee Mason is out with the ball in his hands. There's going to be at least a minute of stoppage time to be added on at the end of extra time. We'll find out in a moment whether it's 1 additional minute or 2. And in the context of tonight, it's got to be 1, and it is. And that minute starts now. Fabianski preparing to take a free kick. United conceded later than this at the weekend. High it goes from Fabianski. Scott McTominay, the match winner as things stand at the moment, heads it away. But out only as far as Benrahma. Benrahma, good challenge coming in on him from Williams. And Rashford will be able to bring it forward for Manchester United. And he will come into West Ham territory and take it down towards the corner flag, which is his preferred destination here. Excellent play from Rashford. He's got 2 West Ham players around him. They have won it back, but the clock has ticked down. And there's only 20 seconds of stoppage time remaining. McTominay. Volley forward by Williams. Bounces towards the edge of the box. It hits Cresswell, who's forced to go back inside his own penalty area and find Fabianski. Fabianski gets it away right-footed. Referee checks his watch. McTominay, though, heads it forward towards Marcus Rashford. Manchester United are going to go through. Can they go through with a 2-0 win? Fernandes, no thought of a shot. He just wants to maintain possession. Lays it back now for Fred. Fred in towards Martial. Right-footed shot at Fabianski. But that's the last action of the game. It's academic. Manchester United are through yet again. They've got an immaculate record in the 5th round of the FA Cup, and they're through to the quarters for a 7th successive season. It was not a vintage FA Cup tie, but 1 goal from Scott McTominay, 7 minutes into extra time, enough to win it. West Ham's frustration in this particular fixture continues. Haven't won here at Old Trafford in any competition since 2007, but it's Manchester United that make it through to the last 8 again. By a goal to nil after extra time.